think I'd be spending my Tuesday sitting on a park bench at the at the old Giddy Up stomping grounds.
It's a pretty nice way to spend a Tuesday.
Yeah, dude, this day's turning out pretty beautiful.
It is, yeah. Every time I'm out during the week doing something like this, I stop and I'm like, I'm so grateful for what I get to do right now. Like I'm off in the middle of the week. I'm doing something I love. And it just makes me feel grateful for what we're doing, you know?
It's definitely something to always stay mindful of.
Yeah.
Right? Even though when you're in the midst of like creating stuff, content, working on bikes, whatever you're doing, and you get to enjoy motorcycles or this kind of shit all the time, it's easy to get jaded by it.
It is, yeah.
But constantly reminding yourself by doing things like this. You know?
Totally, yep. No, I know, it could be worse, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been there. I've grinded, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I've dug ditches, and it helps me stay thankful for when I get to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
You know.
So where are you from originally?
So I was born in the Bay Area, a town called Walnut Creek.
I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah.
Good mall there.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. There was like, I think I actually grew up in Concord, which is like kind of next door to that, and it was a little sketchier. That's like where my parents could afford to make it, you know.
Concord would be like, there's a road to take that up to Mount Diablo.
Yeah.
That's how I know it. Because I used to work in like Byron and Discovery Bay all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
So we go back and forth to Martinez.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah. Totally. Right there by Benicia Bridge and everything. Yeah. And then I grew up, or I basically grew up in Auburn, which is in the hills, like towards Tahoe.
Okay.
And that's where I feel my hometown is, because I moved there when I was like 7 years old, and that's where I grew up.
Different mentality of growing up in an area like that versus Walnut Creek, you know, being closer to, you know, the bay itself. But the bay still runs deep in the hills over there where you're at too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, I feel like no, I'm not near water. I'm not near the bay area at all. It's
well, I know where you're at now, but like Walnut Creek is just over the hill from there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think it's considered the Bay Area, you know, and it was like a city experience. I feel like my parents just wanted me to grow up in a small town, you know, and that's where my parents' family is from also.
Yeah.
So it made sense, and it's like, you know, growing up there, when I was 20 or 18, I really wanted to escape it. But, you know, now I live there again as an adult, and I really see the value in like being in a small town, and there's no traffic, and you can go out and ride whenever you want. It's, you know, you have all these kind of comforts of a small town.
There's a lot of aspects that I feel like when you're growing up you hate, but you learn to appreciate them over time. It's really like, I mean, if you think about it, like what you're doing now, your kids probably when they get of age are gonna be like, oh, this stuff is dumb. Dad didn't know what he's talking about, and then you get to that point where you're like, you kind of knew what was going on.
Totally,
you kind of knew the business.
That's right, man. And like, I feel like every young man, you know, once they get into their late teens and they start trying to figure out who they are, you want to go grind in a city and experience new things and experience more culture and see what you can get into, and more creative people. Like that's kind of what I was searching for when I moved to LA. And then you grind, and it's such a grind, and it grinds you down, and you learn really quick what it's like to be an adult in the real world, you know, living in a city. But you learn so much from it. You know, I wouldn't trade my experience for
So
anything.
your first departure was to LA, is that?
Yeah.
And what'd you go down there for? Just to kind of?
Just to live, basically, just to try something new. And, you know, I was really into fashion, and I thought maybe I might want to work in fashion, and that was, I wasn't going to move to New York because that just seemed way too far, and I love surfing, so LA made sense. And I went to college there, you know, and I paid my way through college and did that whole thing. And, you know, at the end of it, I was like, I kind of shifted, and I wanted to start doing something that would help people. I kind of got that like college mentality where you want to save the world, you know, when
save the whales, baby.
You're 22 years old. And, you know, I started like going that direction. And then I was looking at grad school and the money I was going to have to pay for it. And I got accepted to CSUN, which is like a college, Northridge. And I was just like, man, fuck this. I'm not paying the money to do this. Like, and then I just went full the other direction, and that's how I turned into what I am now, I guess.
Someone tagged me in a meme yesterday that said something like, for those of you who said I wouldn't turn out to be shit when I got older, and then it jumps to now and it says lucky guess.
So good, man. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, memes they're comedic art. I really think,
I heard Rogan say it a long time ago that they're a form of they would become a form of communication.
Right.
Which I think that they communicate thoughts and feelings very well.
Yeah.
And sometimes so well that you you love it, but you also hate it. It's almost like seeing your thoughts portrayed in something else sometimes can be a very, I don't know, unsettling thing depending on where your mind is at.
It can. It really can. And I think like one of the things about like meme culture or, something you would see on the internet like that is they're almost up to interpretation based on someone's experience, but they'll tell you something about your life,
Okay.
So, but then it's like, it can grab all these different people because it's up for interpretation. And that's why I think they're so, they go viral really well, is because no one really knows what it's about. And then people start trying to dissect it, and they're staring at it, trying to dissect it. So
yeah.
I think that's like one of the reasons why they're so popular.
Yeah, social media, how it's changed over the years is a crazy one. But when you decided not to do the extended education situation,
Yeah.
like what'd you jump into, or what'd you have to do to survive, like down there, work-wise?
So I worked in vintage clothing stores. I always, when I was like 14, 15 and started working, it was either like, for my generation, I felt like you either worked in restaurants or you worked in retail. And that was kind of like what the two paths that I saw, as a young guy, like what you can get a job doing. And I chose retail. So I was working at vintage stores. This was like I was 21, and
What year was this?
This was this would have been like 2009.
That height for vintage shit.
Yeah, no, it was great,
Yeah.
man. And I was learning a ton from all these people because I was buying over the counter. So people would come in, show me what they have to sell for the store, and I would have to buy it in real time. So I was learning a ton from these really experienced pickers. So I was very lucky to get to learn about vintage clothing kind of in real time, like before the internet.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And still, that's like my foundation for everything I know is what I learned from working in those stores.
Yeah. I never got the vintage thing much. Sorry. I didn't understand it, but when I started to, honestly, when I started working in the chopper stuff and started going down the path of like interviewing and getting to know the people in that world, it opened up my eyes to like the value of it isn't so much like the perceived of how people see you,
right?
But there is a different feeling when you put on something like I have a Carhartt vest in there it's probably not vintage,
right,
but it's used.
Right.
Someone else did all the hard work in that thing for me, so now I get this nice, comfortable, great feeling, great fitting jacket.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think that the other thing is like I got to a point where like I just had a closet full of like perfect white tees, perfect black tees, and then every day I go to work, I'm gonna wear the white tee that I get dirty all the time, and that one became my favorite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it kind of goes against like a lot of my upbringing, which I grew up in an urban area where if you had a stain on your shirt, like you got made fun of.
For sure. Right.
And so now it's like breaking down that built up idea of like how I need to dress, how I need to present myself, and kind of opening up to other things. Like I have a couple of vintage pieces my wife got for me that I actually love wearing, and they are, they'll have a hole in it, or the collars are a little worn out.
Yep.
And it just feels better.
It does. And I think a lot of it's nostalgia to a material item, which seems weird, and I feel like that's what a lot of people are not attracted to it for, because it's like, well, it's a material item, and like why, like where's the value in something that's old? But it goes just like anything else, just like an old bike. It's the story, the memories you have in it. Even if it's something that you bought used, it becomes your favorite thing, and it's like a second skin. Like that's how I look at it.
I mean, if you were to add the material, like probably the side of it you don't want to, promote, there are less people that have it.
Totally.
Totally. There's a scarcity aspect to it that when you have something that's vintage, whether it be an old Porsche or an old Carhartt, right?
Yep.
Not everybody, you can buy a brand new Porsche, and you
Right.
can buy a brand new Carhartt, but not everybody's going to have that particular
Exactly.
cut or that particular trim.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. And I think, how old are you?
43.
Okay, so I don't know if you're technically considered a millennial, but
I'm the first, depending on what thing I'm 82, so it's like 81, 82 is technically the first year.
you're right.
But I'm finding out this now. I'm a bridge baby
You are.
between,
You're between
an
Gen
X
Yeah.
and yeah.
I think millennials, like from what I've seen, just being a human and my friends, is like we have a very deep-seated need to feel different.
Yeah.
To feel different. And for better or for worse, whatever that may be, we want something that's our own. And look what we're naming our kids. I mean, that's like a great example. Like I feel like millennials are naming their kids the weirdest fucking things ever. You know, I've heard some weird ones, you know, fucking a girl named Tulum. Like just you don't have a girl named Tulum, do you?
I have a girl named Rain.
Okay, see, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a unique name, right?
Yeah.
It's not Dave, it's not Becky, it's
Yeah.
not Jessica.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Fucking hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, so I feel like our generation just wants to feel different. You
Yeah.
know, we want something unique, and a lot of times going into a store, you're not going to be able to get that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why smaller businesses like what we're doing, or what a lot of people in this culture are doing, independent brands, small creators, they're able to actually sustain and create a life-supporting business because I feel like our generation wants to support that.
Yeah.
And big box is out. Like, big companies, I feel like, are having a really hard time becoming culturally relevant.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, is it all going to die with the boomers? You know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so when you are in this space, you're learning about vintage and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, is that where like the motorcycle thing starts to kind of? I mean, because those kind of go hand in hand. And
They
depending
do.
on what part of like LA you're in the vintage, you might have been right around another really popular motorcycle shop at the time.
No, totally, man. So I was living in Silver Lake at the time, which
Okay.
is now it's $1 million, it's rich people neighborhood. When I was living in there, my apartment was $750 a month. It was a beautiful time to live in LA. And you know, Todd has talked about this on his podcast, I think, where that weird area of time during the great financial recession was a sweet time to be in LA, man, because you could live there as a normal poor kid and you could live.
Yeah.
You could pay for a place, you could eat out, you could have a good time, and it wasn't overrun with so much money that it was unavailable to people who were just kind of working normal jobs and just kids having fun. So I'm very grateful that I got to experience LA at that time. And that's where I started seeing motorcycles, was when I was living there at that time. And, you know, because I wasn't really interested in it before then.
Yeah.
You know, my dad grew up racing dirt bikes, and that was a huge part of his life, but I've never been allowed to ride a dirt bike growing up. My parents wouldn't let me get into it. So, you know, I feel like there was this kind of deep-seated thing that I wanted to do it eventually.
Yeah.
And then when I saw basically what our modern chopper scene is, when I saw that was what really grabbed me and made me get into this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I just was introduced to motorcycles through the custom aspect.
Right.
And so everything, and that's been the hardest transition I think I've had in this, like, in my journey in motorcycles, is from things being perfect to now things having character and being untouched.
Absolutely.
And I learned that doing the shovelhead chopper, because it's so much easier to make it perfect again.
Yeah.
It's really hard to preserve the patina that aluminum has after 30 years.
Right.
Or, you know, other aspects of like parts that you find that they don't make anymore. Like, I get it.
Right.
And I can't explain it to someone that doesn't understand it.
Right.
The same way someone couldn't explain it to me, where I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
But after I've learned that it's actually harder to have that
Yeah.
than it is to have something perfectly brand new.
Totally, man. And that's like when someone walks by me and my bike, and they, you know, most people look at it and they're like, this is a literal piece of junk. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't look valuable at all. And it's not very valuable. You know, it's still a code shovelhead, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, that's what is, I guess, in style, and that's what became in style, and that's what people want. They want a worn-in, or at least that's what's important to them. You know, like they'd rather have something that is old and preserved than something that was hand-built. Well, a lot of the culture, maybe.
Well, it maybe to a point, a little B action there. Maybe to the point of like, it's not so much that you're, what's the word? You're not. It's not that it's like on paper like this is a $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 bike, because
Right.
you know it's a $10,000 bike or a $15,000 bike that you can't just walk up and turn it on and go enjoy a day of riding. It takes
Exactly.
another level, another layer of
Right.
you to keep it on the road, to keep it running.
Totally.
Which makes it more special, because like I leave the keys in mine. Like I feel like if you can get it started and you can go run this thing down the street,
Yeah.
you might deserve to keep it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But for the most part, like it adds another layer of like, you can't just buy this.
For sure, man.
You know?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I guess, you know, my bike's kind of pretty, but I want to fucking ride the piss out of it and give it the patina on my own.
That thing, when I saw that, okay, one, it's an amazing bike. You
Thank
did
you.
a great job. And it's the style that a lot of my friends ride up in my area, because it's that style. It's NorCal. It's
Yeah.
totally getting it in the hills, man.
Yeah.
You know? And that bike is going to look good dirty. That's
Thank you.
when I
Yeah,
saw
I
it, I'm
think it
like,
will.
that's a bike that's going to age really well. It's going to look great, freaking with oil all over it.
Well, that's the hope, man. I want it to be one of those bikes that, you know, we were kind of talking about it earlier, but, you know, we both love and follow a lot of chopper dudes that I think have paved the way for even us to come into it now.
100%.
You know, the Max
Yep.
shafts and stuff. And I
Yep.
mean, at one point in time, or at some point in time in the future, that could be us for the next person
Right.
coming into the scene going, you know, because whenever I was building my bike, I was looking at yours because of your bars.
Right.
I
right.
wanted that kind of height and that
Yep.
kind of, but I didn't want to be the dude on the line going, hey man, how tall are your bars? Yeah. So,
They're 14s.
yeah.
But man, that's what it's all about, dude. Right?
Yeah, passing
Is
it on, right?
Passing it on. If someone came up to me at Chopperfest, the dude from Olive Street, and he said, "I have a customer who wants me to build him a bike," and he showed me a picture. He said he wants me to build him your bike, basically.
Yeah.
And I was obviously like, "Well, man, that sucks for you because my bike is a piece of shit, and there's nothing really special going on with it." And he laughed, obviously,
Yeah.
kind of a self-deprecating thing. And I was like, "That's cool, you know? Like,
Yeah.
this guy saw something that connected with him, and now he's going to go for it."
Yeah.
And I want someone to go for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because whatever gets you on a certain track, you're gonna develop as time goes on. If you stick with it, you're gonna develop. You're gonna create your own style, and then just like that, it's gonna happen where someone else approaches him or
Yeah.
sees his thing, and so the story continues, right?
Yeah, and the styles are always compiled of like all your influences, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's the one thing I always like to say. Even though like I would say that my gold FXR, that's mine.
Right.
But
right.
there's a piece of NorCal in it. There's a piece of the Midwest in it. There's a piece of Swedish choppers
There's
in
some piece of Ventura in there.
it.
Dude.
Exactly. There's
Yeah.
a lot of little pieces that came together to make that particular one that is mine. But it's made up of all my influences and whatnot. you
Right.
know? That's how I used to always think that growing up. And then when I started diving into music bands, it would say like, oh, you know, we were into Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and a little bit of this band. And like, that's what our band is, our
Right.
core sound comes from. Like,
Right.
oh, that's cool because I hear that. And I like the fact that you would say that. Because
Right.
a lot of dudes like, no, dude, we saw me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not online. I don't look at nobody else's
Yeah,
bikes.
that's funny. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, let me see your fucking your saved photos. Let's
Right,
see-
right.
Let's see how many choppers and
Yeah.
how much of my shit's in there. You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah. Well, you know, I feel like they say when you're trying to learn to write, when you're trying to get good at writing, and I'm really into writing, I love
Yeah.
it. They say a good thing to do is to read other authors. That's the best thing you could do to improve your writing, or to even just sit down and rewrite something that someone has already written. And you know, it's like even if you try and recreate something exactly, it's still not going to be that.
Yeah.
It's still going to be you, right? So I think that's a good exercise to do. If someone feels stuck or if someone doesn't know where to start, just take something that already exists and try and do that.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're going to develop and you're going to find your own voice, right? It takes trial and error. Like no one has their own, very few people are good enough to have their own voice like right off the riff, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a long game. It takes a lot of work.
I would say even someone that's like, seems like a natural talent, you know, there's still like a aspect of Tiger Woods that probably went in where he grew up in a household that was very eclectic or, you know, pushed them into, you know, creative ways so that you could still pay your homage to maybe that upbringing or the type of cartoons you watched growing up or whatever, you know?
Right. Are you saying no one is solely like artistically independent? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like everyone's a product?
I wouldn't want to say that, like, I wouldn't want to make that statement as a complete generalization.
Right.
That nobody is that. But I found that most of the prodigies that I've ever looked into or the people that I've met that I thought was just naturally they can be better at it with less effort.
Right.
But it still stems from somewhere.
Right. And it's
that, I mean?
It's the iceberg, right? Everyone sees the very top, you know, when you've achieved something great, and they don't know underneath the water all the iceberg. They don't understand all the work, you know.
Prime example, if we're talking choppers, like I feel like Yaniv can't miss.
Oh, he can't miss.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's definitely, and he said it on my podcast, I can't recite them, but he said like these people before me are what kind of shaped my way of seeing the world. And then the way you see the world is the way you interpret it, which is the way you put your twist on it, right?
Yeah, totally, man.
And, you know, I think a lot of the environment you grew up in over there in that Hollywood area, you know, Melrose and stuff, I think all those things play into creating a visual aspect of how you recreate or how you create art or how you create anything.
Totally.
You know, so I find that like what I consume becomes that shit. So I try to consume a lot of things that are inspiring mainly.
Right.
Getting into books was a big thing. I slacked heavy on writing. I got into it real heavy and then I just kind of like, I'm just not on it like I need to be. You know what I mean?
Well, writing is a labor of love because the reward level that you get for writing is, you know, 1/10 of what you're going to get for making a video.
Yeah.
And that's strictly not even to do with the quality of what you're putting out, but it's because of the platforms itself. Like I could spend, you know, I wrote that piece for Dice on me and Axel's trip. I wrote like a very detailed, it was very long, you know, report of that trip for the Dice blog. And it took me fucking days, you know, I had to like buckle down and do it. I was doing it late at night. And, you know, how many people are going to click through that and actually read the whole thing? Very few, you know, as opposed to someone who's going to watch a reel with clips cut. A reel made of that trip is going to go way beyond what something you write about it is. So really, for me, the writing isn't about reach. It's not about reaching people. It's about the internal joy that I get from it. And it's like something I can go back on, you know, and I don't want to sound big-headed, but like I go back and I'll read my old ride reports because I love it.
Yeah.
I love going back into those times and thinking about how I was feeling and what the trip was like, you know, and I do that with the blogs of like kind of the people who came before me. I mean, I still I'll go fucking 10 years back onto Troy Critchlow's blog and I'll read his, and he did some similar ride reports, and I'm like, you know, it brings me back to when I was seeing that when it came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a cool story, you know?
Isn't it weird how I feel like I talk to so many people that really love the idea of blogs and they love it, but how do you get something like that to exist again? Because I feel like writing, like you kind of said it, but it's like you need to make content, you know, viral videos or wherever the fuck, for like to get seen. Right. But I think that like when you do those more specific things like writing and shit like that, you kind of do it for that deeper audience or a deeper connection. Yeah. Maybe not your core, like these dudes fuck with me heavy, but maybe the people that are also looking for just generally something deeper out of all this.
Totally. And that's like from day one, that's what I've went out to use Instagram and social media for. I was like, this is not going to be what I'm trying to actually do, it's going to be the billboard. It's my billboard. It's going to get people to go to my website, and if you want to dig deeper and see what it's really about, you can do that. And then what that's done is it's created a very strong relationship with the people that will buy my clothes, the people who've read the ride reports, or who I ride with in real life, and people like you who I meet on the road, and like, my social media doesn't look like a clothing brand at all. It doesn't. People don't even know it's a clothing brand really until you go dig a little deeper, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is actually what this guy's doing. And it's worked out really good, because like Instagram's the billboard, and it's a great tool for that. But I don't go on Instagram for like in-depth, like really good material, right? I mean, I try and find it somewhere else.
You got to scroll down on people's Instagram page. You have to go to the bottom and see the 2014 version of them.
Yeah,
you see some better stuff there.
Yeah, that's a thing, right? I mean,
I wish there was like I think Cut Rate said this on the podcast once. He goes, he wishes there was a button that you can hit and it would just take you to the beginning of their Instagram.
Right. Flip
and go
it
forward and go up and see where you kind of come and go from. So yeah, talking about your clothing brand and talking about Stormriders, like where was the idea behind it? I know you kind of talked a little bit about it with Dan on Dan's podcast, which if you guys are listening to this, you should definitely go check that out, because I think that it's going to fill. I think both podcasts fills gaps.
I think so too.
Yeah,
they'll work
at least
together.
I hope that's the plan here.
Right.
I don't want to give you the same thing that Dan created on the Danger Dan's Top Shop, but the beginning of that, I think you had mentioned on his podcast, like you were a flip phone guy,
I was very like, you talked about, I feel like you've talked about like kind of like the golden age of Instagram or like social media, and I don't even know what that, I wasn't
you
there.
were checked out for
I
that.
wasn't there, and like I wish I wasn't, honestly. Like if I could go back, I wish I would have started doing this in my early 20s. Because I probably would have taken it further by now, right? But I was very afraid to put myself out there, and it was a defense mechanism, I think, and so I told myself that I was being really pure and legit, and that was kind of like my reason that I justified to myself, but I just didn't have the confidence to really do what I wanted to do.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, coming from the vintage world, I mean, am I out of line to say that there's a lot of pretentiousness in that world?
I'll be completely honest. I think fashion and clothing is a little bit more forward thinking than choppers from what I've seen. I think there's a little bit more of understanding the lightness of what fashion or vintage is in the community, like that doesn't exist, where like I feel like the motorcycle industry and world is very, very serious and very, what you're doing is very important, and it's your whole self, and it's you, and the fashion community just, I think, has gone, I don't know what it was like before I was, in past decades or whatever, but like I feel like they understand that like this stuff, it's not that important, but it's a fun artistic expression.
Okay.
So I find that like it's a little more accepting to newcomers. It's a little bit, there's not as much like pretension in the culture, I think. Look at the movie Zoolander, right? I mean, you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a total spoof of everything that is hilarious about that world. And it's all true. It's all rooted in truth, right? I feel like, the motorcycle industry hasn't really maybe acknowledged that about itself yet. And I don't know if it needs to. I just know that for me, that's what is making me feel more honest to myself, and it's worked for me personally.
No, that makes sense.
Like having kids had a lot to do with it, for me, because I was kind of having kids when I was starting this whole thing. And, the second you have a kid, I was just like, man, all these things that I take so seriously about myself are kind of a joke now to me. You know, like I should be focusing on so many more important things, yet I'm addicted to old motorcycles and, you know, clothing and stuff like this. And I'm not trying to put down anyone else who doesn't have kids or, you know, anything like that. But like, that is what my experience was. And I was like, wow, I need to be able to just kind of laugh at myself and take a breath and, you know, realize that everything I'm doing is not very important in the grand scheme of things, you know?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I had kids so early in my life that I feel like I was still growing up. And, you know, I always say on the podcast that me and my daughter grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel like a lot of the things that I think created my identity of who I am now were things that were created after they were both born. You know what I mean?
Right.
Always been into motorcycling, but I didn't really consider myself a biker until I was damn near 8-9 years into it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's when I was like, all right, I guess I'm a biker now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really wanted to be an artist.
Right.
But I guess I'm just going to be a biker.
Right. Yeah. And what is a biker to you?
I mean, that's an ever-changing, you know, thing. The problem with the term is that so many people's identities are rooted in their version of it, that it's almost like no matter what you say, it's not biker enough, or it's too light or too much biker or whatever.
Totally.
I remember Dan and I had this exchange on a podcast on mine once, and he was like, a biker, and I'm saying this and Dan's not here to defend himself, but he's like, a biker has to work on his bike on the side of the road. He has to be able to do that. I was like, Dan, you just rode down to Mexico with Brian Helm and, you know, all these other guys. Like, Brian don't know how to work on his bike, but he's a biker. And he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. So, I mean, it's such a weird thing. And I don't know that I actually, I don't know if I have like a checklist of things that I could rattle off right now to say this is why and this is why not.
Right.
I just know that my life is biker.
Yeah.
I'm every day a motorcycle is involved in my life in one way or another.
Right.
So I don't know if that checks other people's boxes, but I think it's like I'm not too concerned with their concern of my bikerism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
That's the one thing that does feel liberating, is as I get older, the less, kind of like who you're saying, the less I feel the need to have other people's approval.
Totally.
But I still want people to like me.
Well,
You know what
I
I mean?
think deep down, everyone does, you know, or they might say that they don't, but, you know, that's an evolutionary
I don't want to be
thing.
an unlikable dude.
Right.
I want to
right.
be a good hang.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like, but I don't want to like not be who I am. So if the thing is, okay, well, whoever I am, if I'm off-putting and pushing people away, then that's probably something bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So maybe I need to figure out that what's wrong with my personality that's being so off-putting to so many people.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is that sometimes the people that come in like that and don't give a shit at all are very attractive, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing,
Yeah.
you know? So, but like, I think it is different for everyone, you know, how they define what's important. You know, different aspects of the culture are more important to certain people.
When it comes to fashion, I think y'all were talking about this a little bit on Dan's podcast as well, but and I think Dan brought it up, and I forget exactly whose mouth it came out of, but basically it's like, I think most men just want to effortlessly be cool in how we dress and carry ourselves all the time. And the most effortless we look, then I feel like the more we achieve that idea of it. But, you know, I think you said something about like, man, just trying some shit on the mirror outfit, man, I feel good in this. There is a good feeling when you get a nice pair of clothes, something that goes on, you know?
I think so. You know, I think it's more like, you know, we pay so much attention to what our bikes turn out to look like, right? You know, and why is it not okay to do that with yourself? That's kind of how I look at it, you know? It's you know, I meticulously put a bike together the way I want it to look, right? To look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that every day when I get up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do the same thing. You know, you know, I don't wear like super crazy shit to the wrong fucking thing. Yeah. You know, normally when I'm on my shovel, I have to wear basic shit because I know I'm gonna get on the ground for the most part, you know, so that changes it. That's one thing.
Darker colors,
laid back, heavier fabric, you know. But like I I'll wear all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not afraid to say that. And I've worn a bunch of different shit throughout the years. You know, that's like one thing that I feel like is kind of a stigma in choppers is a lot of people are like, you know, I've looked the same way for 20 years, you know, and that's cool. I get that. That's cool. But I kind of like your life and how it changes, and you try different things and you get to experiment and you go through these different seasons, and you know, I don't think it's a bad thing to like change your style, right?
That notion of I've been like this for 20 years, that I think that's a defense mechanism to not seem like you're being trendy.
Right.
I've been wearing Dickies and flannels my entire life.
Right.
You know, I've always wore Vans.
Yeah.
You know, like those kind of things are more or less to put yourself in the I was here first category, and I'm not here because of the trend.
Totally.
And which I get, and I'm guilty of it for sure at some point in my life, you know, because I grew up in a shop. Dickies were part of the outfit, you know.
Yep.
But there is that aspect of like, to what you're saying is that me and my wife, we had this conversation. We had it last fall.
Okay.
And we were like, I was like, what's your color right now? Like, we all have a favorite color, but we don't wear it all the time.
Right.
And we both were like, you know, we're both in the navy blue right now.
Uh-huh.
And so we noticed that a lot of our outfits and the shoes we were buying had a lot of navy blue and coordinating kind of things with it.
Uh-huh.
And right now, I'm into the fucking green.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? Fucking, I got this thing from Power Plant for my chopper, and he sent me a green hat.
Uh-huh.
And I threw it on, and I'm like, God damn, I like green.
Yeah.
And so now, like, all I'm seeing is green. And for me as a painter, I think it kind of like doubles in different aspects of like, I want to paint green things and I want my outfits to have some green in it.
Totally.
You know?
Totally, man. Yeah. And, you know, that comes back to like where you're getting inspiration from something, and then you're letting that inspiration come out in all these different ways.
Yeah.
You know, in your way. And it should come out in the way you're dressing, right? I mean, like, when I lived in Nashville, like, I fucking wore so much denim, and like, I loved it, dude. I was so stoked to be around this like different world, you know? And I got into it. I loved it, you know? It was really cool to like try these different things out. And I still have all that. It's still in my closet. I still, you know, I wear like the
denim rabbit hole's deep.
Oh, it is.
You know, whether it's like Japanese, selvage, vintage, I watched a video on the shit, and I was like, I'm not ready for that as chapter yet.
Yeah. Well, it's another nerdy thing, like old choppers, right? It's like it's a culture kind of. Those guys are really into it.
Yeah.
You know?
But I get it though. It's like when you, like, again, like, I have a closet full of pants, and most of them I never wear. I always go back to like 2 or 3 different ones that I always want to wear.
Right.
And it's like the idea of just, I'd rather buy some quality clothes and have less than have a bunch of just fluff.
Yeah.
You know, because the other aspect of like my fashion sense, I guess you will, or lack thereof, is that I'm also like a Steve Jobs kind of vibe where I want to have less options.
Less to think about.
Yeah. And, you know, there's an aspect of just throwing a black t-shirt on all the time and having a bunch of them and not wonder which one's this, that, for this occasion or that occasion. But all this to say that I understand the world of it, and I think that like pages like yourself and bringing those kind of thoughtful things into motorcycling is like, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And it'll break down that stigma of like, you know, how the choppers to certain demographics of motorcycling has always been like the hipster thing, right?
See, that's interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk to you, is because you have like more, I'm not saying you're an outsider at all, but you have a different perspective coming into it, you know, where you can tell me something like that, because that's interesting to hear, right?
Well, and it's not so much from like the performance motorcycle community, it's from like the older demographic of biker that has, you know, they went to Bike Week in 03.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they had to sell their bike, and then they got another one in 13, and then they did a rock rally.
Yeah.
But now they're heavy on YouTube and all this other shit, right? So a lot of those older, maybe hog chapter kind of, I don't know a way to classify or, you know, whatever, but like, you would hear that a lot. You would hear like the hipster choppers. That was the way they talked about the Born Free style chopper stuff.
Right.
And even I would hear it in the industry from certain brands that were kind of, you know, prominent in it.
Yep.
But, you know, I don't know, like the word hipster became derogatory the same way millennial became derogatory.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and then most people don't even really go back and understand what a hipster is or the definitions and those kind of aspects of it. And I think
Right.
it lost a decent cultural thing that
Right.
definitely, I think I probably fall in that category a lot in a lot of things that I like.
Well, me too.
You know what I mean?
Obviously. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I don't think, like, to me,
we're hipster millennials, dude.
well, yeah, we are, but that's the thing is I don't think it's necessarily a derogatory thing.
Yeah.
Like everything that I am, like you're saying, we're aging, and I'm totally okay with what I am
Yeah.
at this point in my life. Like I really don't care. You know, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is who I am. If I want to put on a fucking flamboyant suit one day, I'll do it. You
Yeah.
know, like because it makes me have a good time. It makes me feel good, you know?
Yeah.
And one of the things, like, I guess with my page is I don't want to change the way people, like, actually act. Like, I don't really care if someone, you know, takes action and starts dressing a certain way. I don't want to feel like people have to, like, start dressing a certain way, but, like, just acknowledging that it's okay to care about that stuff, I think is important in my ultimate goal, and kind of showing, like, the similarities between these two worlds. And I think that's a lot of times why my page will do well, is because you're getting these two different groups of people who shouldn't be in the same room together. You're getting, like, these fashion kids, and you're getting these bike guys, and it's like, this is what happens when you put them all in the same room and get them talking, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so, like, you know, there was people, like, I follow a lot of fashion accounts, like, you know, menswear guys, like, because I love that shit. You know, it's seriously my passion with motorcycles. It's the same level of passion. And, you know, a lot of them are like, why is everybody so mad? Like, what did you do wrong? Like, this is a cool outfit. You know, like, they don't get it because they don't come from that motorcycle world where you're not supposed to do stuff like that. You know, so, like, there's this weird kind of, like, collision of different cultures, I think, that are meeting, and I still think it's a net positive, you know.
Would you say that maybe it's because motorcycling is a collective of, like, it's more of a collaborative thing? Like, you can ride a bike by yourself, but so much of motorcycling takes place with other people and friends. So there becomes this aspect of you can't hide behind a social media identity as a motorcyclist as you could as a fashion dude on blog kind of thing.
Possibly.
Like, there's not I mean, I know there is meetups and things that you do in the fashion world, but it's not
Right.
like we're going to the Sturgis of the fashion world and we're partying all weekend.
Possibly, yes. But I think you can live the motorcycle lifestyle without ever getting off your couch. I think you can. I think I think it can be done.
Yeah.
You know, because people do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever, if that's fulfilling to someone, then I'm not gonna judge someone for how they get value out of something that they like.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, at this point in my life, I used to do
Yeah.
that, and I was an asshole. You know, so I do think there is a barrier to entry. Like I was talking to Dan, there's a barrier to entry in motorcycling, which is going to weed out a lot of people that won't go all the way to actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it is harder to do that, and that's probably why there is hostility towards people, perhaps, that they feel like aren't all the way in, right? Like all in with it, like not really living it. It could be like that.
When you started, like, when would you say your page started to take the more, is parody the right way to say it, or satire?
No, I wouldn't call it that, and that's what a lot of people call it. But I would call it more hyperbole, because it's all me.
Yeah.
I blow it up. I turn the volume up to 11.
Yeah.
You know, like so everything's rooted in honesty, but I turn it up to make it funnier, and you know, I'll write little aspects, you know, things that I see or maybe I've said or felt before. I take, like, pretty much all the worst aspects about me and I crank them up to 11, like,
Yeah.
and I try and make, like, when I make a video, I'm like, how do I make myself look like the douchiest person on earth? Right? Like that, like how can I create this character to make it like ridiculous like that?
Yeah.
You know, and then that's what I do.
I remember the first time I saw, like, it came across like a suggested situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think like many people, I'm probably in the same boat as many people, is I had to click on your page and watch 5 videos
Yeah.
and ask myself, is he being for real or not?
Right.
Before I realized that it is what you're saying, hyperbole.
Right.
And then I followed, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Awesome. Man.
And then I show my wife.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to a friend. It's like, dude, this shit is fucking hitting the nail on the head. Almost like, I wonder if in my head, now that I'm thinking about it, if I would have thought you were serious, if I would have just been a hater from the beginning.
Possibly.
If I would have like since I saw it and felt it as like, I guess the intention.
Right.
I loved it.
Right.
Versus if I would have took it as like, oh no, this dude thinks he's like hot shit.
Right.
Oh,
right.
fuck this dude. And then I would have probably sent it to the same people like, look at this fucking nerd.
Right. Just with a
You know?
different narrative.
tone. Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's just maybe a realization I'm thinking of in my head. But I think maybe a lot of people go through that thing when they see stuff like that. And relatively, to my knowledge, I mean, I could be wrong, but like your page it was the jump off for you in a lot of ways, in like social aspects of like
it was
seeing
100%.
It wasn't like a whole bunch of podcasts that you had already been on that I know of.
Right.
You know.
Right. No, that's totally what it is. And like, you know, I've been selling vintage for like 15 years. You know, that's been something I've always done because I love it. I love like, you know, putting together a collection of vintage that I find and selling it. And I've never really given myself the opportunity to actually try and do it. You know, I never really applied myself because I was very afraid of putting myself out there. And I felt like I shouldn't want the attention. I feel like I shouldn't want to be successful, you know, because like that's, you know, people my age, especially people that are attracted to choppers, it's like success is the enemy of legitness, right? Like that's the coolest thing you do is not care about anything and just live in your own little world and never put it out there, you know? So that's where I'm coming from. Like, that's kind of how I grew up, is like, that's the mentality.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, finally, like the pandemic hits, I'm having kids and I'm just like, you know, I'm just going to try and actually do this and see if I can make it into something, you know? And like the whole goal, I'm like, I need a place for like my brand to live, you know? Like the thing about it is like, I'm talentless. I don't do anything, you know?
Let's say that.
Well, but that's the thing. Like I needed a place where I could build my brand and sell clothing through, you know? So it's like anyone can make clothes, anyone can do what I do. I have no, you know, perception that that's special in any way, you know? But like, I'm trying to create a world that I see, you know? And that's the whole thing, is like, I want to create a world for the brand, and that's what I want. You know, I always wanted to work in fashion, but I felt like I could never get a job in fashion. You know, I would love to do this for another brand, or for a brand. Like that was what I wanted to do. I thought that would be really fun, you know? And I just figured I could do it for myself. You know, you could do anything now with a phone and an internet connection, you know? So it's been nice to like finally have a little bit of a place for my thing to live, you know, instead of just it living nowhere, basically, and me just doing it kind of for the love of it, and you know, make a few bucks here and there, like, you know, selling clothes. But
do you struggle with like the last podcast I did with my buddy Luke? We were talking about like the influencer culture, economy, that kind of world, and like you know, because it's another word that now has a negative connotation to it.
Absolutely.
How do you I always say condensation, like the condentation.
The drips on the window.
Yeah.
Connotation.
Okay, there. That's getting my verbiage right, but it's another one of those things that just has a bad rap, right? And
absolutely.
A lot of it, now that I've gotten wrapped up in it, like I can only think about my path of being a painter and working on bikes and just putting out my work, turns into attention, which then turns into, you know, opportunities, brand deals, things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it was never like, I'm going to jump on here and go spend 10 years before the internet comes out to learn how to paint bikes so that this hypothetical thing can come into the world and I can be a part of it. Like, it's just a happenstance of like doing things and having a visually, doing things that's visually pleasing for people to look at,
Yeah, I absolutely think about that. I think influencer culture and the time that we live in is absolute absurdity. I think it's the most hilarious, ridiculous thing ever. And I love that. I love how funny it is to me. And that's a lot of my page is like being, self-deprecating about the world that we live in now. Like I know that I am that's what's happening. This is an influencer type of thing. And yes, it is stupid.
That video you made, I fucking like, if I would have had food or liquid in my, I would have spit it out.
Which one?
At the end of it, you go, I'm gonna tell the IRS that my life is a write-off.
Right. Because
I fucking laugh my ass off.
Right, but that's like, it's funny.
Because I think that.
You think that.
I think that.
You think that, and I think that too. And like, a lot of that stuff is like, I'll try and take things that are hilarious about influencer culture that I participate in, and then I'll put it out there in a way that is just straight honest. And like, that's the funny aspect of it. Sometimes the thing that connects with people the best is the thing that everyone is thinking, but no one says. So like I absolutely think that I am absurd and influencer culture is hilarious. But it's like, that's the world that we live in now, and I'm kind of the mindset, and like, without getting too like philosophical, but like I kind of think everything is a performance in life. Like that's kind of the mindset that I have adapted, through my life. Like I just kind of feel like everything's a performance, and everyone on social media is trying to do something. Even the guy that doesn't care, that says he doesn't care, he's selecting exactly what he wants the world to see in the exact way he wants people to see it.
And also the apps themselves are trying to push people to all go down this path as well.
Right.
I mean, if you have a normal non-business Instagram page, the Instagram will ask you, like, hey, do you want to turn this into a artist page or this?
Does it? Oh, right, it does.
It kind of like, it's like the concept for social media platforms is for everybody to adopt this culture.
Yeah, totally. Because it's good for the platform.
I kind of said this in the last podcast, but I'll say it here for the context of this conversation. In 2016, when the influencer thing was becoming something in the motorcycle world, the platforms were very beneficial to us. They would promote us, which gave us leverage to work with brands, and deals worked. Well, then you have that all the way up until about 2020, 2021. And then the apps are like, you know what? Why don't we stop giving them reach and make them pay for it? And then we'll just reach out to the brands and say, hey, look, you give us $1,000 a month, we're going to give you more access to all this stuff than the influencers ever could. So in a sense, it feels like the platforms created an opportunity for people to go down the path to be influencers, brand ambassadors, things like that. And then they pulled the rug out and gave all that power back to the brands. Where now the influencers are all scrambling and losing their shit and losing their mind because like, oh, what the fuck? The algorithm.
I hear people complain about that a lot, and I don't know how the algorithm works. Like I don't, it's designed very complex to keep you on the app, and I don't know. I try and not go on the app unless I'm posting something, and if something does well, like I'm not one of those guys that says I don't think about this at all. Like I try and understand the app because it's good for business to understand it. So if something does good, then I'll stay on the app and I'll kind of engage with the app a little bit. If something does bad, then I won't go on the app because that is going to, I think, hopefully say to the algorithm or the app that, oh, okay, this guy's much more engaged when something is doing good on the app. So like, I feel like
mind games with that.
I'm trying to play mind games with it, but I feel like some people get in this thing, like, I've seen people, like even people in our, culture post like, my shit doesn't get seen, and it's like, I know that rabbit hole you can go down where you just are like doing something and it feels like nothing's gonna work, like nothing's working, but you're just on the app constantly, like refreshing shit, and it's like that's not that.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about how good your shit is doing. It only cares about how much time you're spending on the app. You know, so like that.
I think it does. I think it affects art, like not real. The version of art that I think that maybe our generation is attracted to, but there is an art form that's emerging through this, like with the for instance, the satire, hyperbole, the parodies, all the different things that a lot of people are starting to create.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. It's like it's a short form version of YouTube in some kind of way, right?
Right.
And there's a home for that, but it just sucks that it's also the home where photography used to live.
Yeah.
And now photographers like myself, or people that love the craft and the art of it, don't really have a place to put it.
Totally.
And if I have to make a video to show you my photo,
right,
it kind of defeats the purpose of it, right?
Totally.
So I think that a lot of art forms are struggling to figure out where they live.
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And I would love for those things to live in like the real world, you know?
Yeah.
And in galleries, art shows, bike shows that really focus on showing artists, magazines, you know, things like that. But, you know, those are like more, there's a lot of gates to get through to get to those places, as opposed to Instagram just opened. It was a catch-all be-all. It was a place we can all kind of put our work, be seen by our work, grow from our work, be inspired by other people's work.
So for you, was there a monetization like during that golden age, or like when you felt like it was really good for creators or photographers like yourself? Were you able to like monetize what you were doing from the app, or did you feel like it was just numerically being shown more?
It was more so like I've never made a dime. I think every once in a while I get like $6 from Instagram.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't say I make money. That's probably going. And the only reason I ever did like the verified badge thing was for the security of the page.
That's why I did it too.
Just to make sure that it didn't get hacked, and if it did, I had a better chance of getting it back. You know what I mean? More so like it was more like being able to post something or create an event or do something and use the platform to show the world what's going to happen or what's going on or what I just did.
Right.
So, like I said, I never had a T-shirt that I was selling online. I never really sold anything, but I could make a post and say, hey, I have 5 helmet spots open, and then they were booked by the end of the night.
Right.
And it sucks that it got to that point. Like, I hate that I grew up never knowing what Instagram was or social media was.
Right.
Had a book full of my pictures and would walk into shops and say, hey, look, I can paint.
Right.
And did that type of marketing.
Yeah.
So then, okay, I can just post these online and then gain it. And now I'm completely beholden to the online thing now.
That's exactly right. It's like, and that's the weird thing is our, business is very reliant on it now, especially for smaller people like us, what we're doing. Like what I've tried to do is really get people going away from Instagram and trying to get them to my website. Yeah. And that's like a mailing list is huge. Mm-hmm. And offering something outside of the app, because then you can actually connect with your audience outside of the app. Without an algorithm. Yeah. So that's like a huge part, I feel like, that people could be taking advantage of, but it's hard to build that just like anything else.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's weird. I mean, it is so ingrained in everything. Like, I feel like that's where everyone is going to get new work, whether you're trying to be like an actor or a photographer or a fashion designer or a bike builder. It's like that's where you're going to get your work, right?
Yeah, in terms of photography, like I've gone through like mental phases where I'm like, like a dreamer phase, like, it'd be so amazing to be like a paid photographer.
Right.
But that back and forth mentally, like, I feel like it can kind of value or devalue the act of doing photography.
Totally.
So I've completely, for the most part, removed the aspect of trying to do it for money and just making it something that I do for myself.
Right.
As a, something that I enjoy. I'm not looking for anything on the other end. I'm doing it purely out of like the love of it, right?
Yeah.
And it still does help out business-wise. It helps out with the content, with,
Right.
you know, after we do this, I'll probably shoot some photos of you for this podcast. So there's an aspect that it does kind of, through a couple processes, maybe help me make money.
Yeah.
But it's not like a hand over fist. I take a photo of you, you give me $100.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And that's probably like a lot of trades where that changed. You know,
Yeah.
like before, I feel like when it was rooted in the real world, you know, you could get a book of clients that you worked for.
Yeah.
You had to really establish connections, real human connections with someone that, you know, they had to like your work, and you had to be able to perform, you know, even under pressure, like on set, right? You know, you
Yeah.
had to be able to make it happen. They had to like you.
And a lot of that would be built by you being someone else's, like, you know, photography assistant, a grip or something like that,
Dude.
lighting person.
Yeah,
You know?
totally, man. Do you know Brian Bowen Smith at all?
Yeah. I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, I mean, super nice guy. And I mean, he just like, he came up so organically. You
Yeah.
know, he like busted ass to get where he is today, you know? And like he's like the perfect story of how you should get into a trade, you know, or a craft.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, it's hard now because like, you know, the fucked up thing is that if I fucking bought a camera and started saying I was a photographer, I could probably get work just
Yeah.
because of my following.
Yeah.
And that is so fucked because I'm not a photographer, right? And that's like the world that we're living in now, you know? Like it's just the incentives are all messed up, right?
That's a good point. The incentives are messed up. You know, like, there's things that I've done that I guess in some categories I could be classified as a photographer, but I don't like, I've always said that like artist, photographer for this conversation, biker,
Yeah.
those are kind of like things I think are bestowed upon you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how other people can describe me. That's not the way I want to describe myself.
For sure, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
and-
it feels weird. Hey, what do you do for a living?
Right.
Man, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. Yep.
I airbrush. Oh, you mean like t-shirts?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Yeah, I pinstripe. Oh, you mean like on the side of Lexuses and shit? Like, it feels. I don't know. I don't know. I like to say painter.
Yeah. Painter's
You know.
good. That's a good quick answer that doesn't really
Open up
entice too many
yeah.
questions.
In all this stuff, you know, these aspects. Where did this like notion to travel on a chopper come from?
It's been from when I got into bikes.
Was it always like
it was
the
always
mountain?
always.
Yeah.
That was the reason. That was what you're supposed to do with these. That was how I saw it in the beginning, and that's always what attracted me to it. You know, like in that era of when I got into it, you know, and I'm not like an OG. Like I'm not part of fucking like Max Shaft's.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not the
That world,
originator. I was looking at that to get into it. I'm like, you know, the second cohort or whatever, I guess you could call it. You know, so like when I saw it, it was kids in LA and they had shit bikes, old Harleys that they were figuring out, and they weren't super skilled, you know, and they were just riding all the time and having fun. And that was what it was about. So when I saw that, that was like how you were supposed to do it. That's how I related to it, and that's what I wanted to do. So like, you know, the first guys that I started riding with, they were camping every weekend. They were riding during the week together. It was all about being on the road. And they were all in their early 30s, and they felt ancient to me and like the coolest guys ever. I was so happy to be hanging out with them.
Yeah.
You know, they'd make me get coffee for them every morning. That I got the beer. Like it was a total like almost like a funny like prospecting
Yeah.
thing. You know, they were like, "Is this kid cool enough to hang?" You know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I saw it. And you know, they'd always be like, you know, are you riding enough? Are you riding enough? You know, they were like big into that whole part of it, you know?
Yeah.
So like that's kind of what shaped my mentality. So like I've always loved doing trips. That's always kind of what has been inspiring to me. And, you know, some of my most favorite special trips are like ones before I even did the whole social media thing, like where I just went with like me and my wife.
Yeah.
You know, those are special, and like those are kind of my favorite ones, you know. But like you know, you're a guy who's ridden a ton, and I asked you what you thought a biker was because I I feel like you are like the definition of a biker, like really. Like from my perspective, when I first saw what you were doing, I was like, this guy's a fucking biker, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And, so like doing a big trip, like especially one where you go across the country, that's like a huge, I feel like it's a rung on the ladder that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
It just so happens that I wanted to do it, and I love every second of that journey. Like it was fun to even just do it. But it was definitely always the goal, like, was to do something like that.
Yeah, and I think the romanticism of traveling on a motorcycle is something that I've fallen in love with. Like we were talking after we had some barbecue earlier. It's like that's the only mistress that's ever come close to pulling me away from my life.
Right.
Is the love of being on the road.
Right.
And there's an aspect of it that is intoxicating. So, like, it was funny because last weekend, 2 days ago, I went and rode a little bit west of Dallas to go eat at this little spot. And these roads I was on are the roads that I would sometimes leave to go west on.
Oh, man.
And
you got the feeling, dude?
It like a vibe, a feeling, it just comes over you, and it's like, it was a good feeling. It was a very warm and very, like, it was awesome, but it was like, man, like there is an intoxication to it. Once you do it and you actually love it, because there's a lot of people that hate every moment of it.
Yeah.
They just want to get to the destination.
Yep.
They don't romanticize the hardships that come along with it.
Right.
Which you don't do that in the moment.
Right.
I mean, not always. Maybe later on after you solve the problem.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. But it's one of those situations that, like, it's literally one of the most. If I could never do anything custom on a motorcycle, that's the one thing I don't think I could give up in life.
Right.
It's some form. It don't have to be 7 weeks. It don't have to be a week.
Right.
But just I'm gonna leave Friday night and I'll be home Sunday night.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna go as far as I can go before I have to turn around.
Yep.
And that's the most intoxicating thing for me on motorcycles.
What's your favorite place you've ever ridden, like in the country? Like, what's your favorite zone?
Dude, that's the hardest.
Yeah, I want to hear your answer.
People ask that all the time, and I mean, it's really, you catch more flies with honey.
Yeah.
California's honey.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I get a lot of things in California, and whether it's when I'm in the Bay Area, like on the coastline, going up to Bodega Bay and riding down to Monterey, like there's things that happen that I feel that take me back to different parts of my life that I love.
Yes.
Yeah. There's parts going up towards Crescent City that take me back to spots riding around Venice Beach in LA.
Yeah.
Here, this road right here we're on, River Road, is one of my favorite things. And I think it's more attached to the giddy up feelings and experience that I had a long time ago.
Right. Yeah.
But, man, the problem is it's like I can't just say that it's California, it's Sturgis, or it's this. It's like I've had amazing moments in so many spots that it's almost like I'd be just, I don't know.
They're like children. You love them all for their own little quirks. And yeah. No, that's, I think that's a very fair answer to that question, but like doing a ride like that where you're experiencing so many things, it really forces you to love all these different little areas and sub areas and different things, like, because it's refreshing after you get out of the mountains in Denver that you've just ridden through the mountains of the past 2 days, and you're sick of your bike fucking running rich, and and like being in the elevation, man. Once you get into the flats of Kansas, that shit can actually feel good. And
I love riding through Kansas,
dude. Yeah, man. Yeah.
People shit on it all the time, but I'm like, man, you got to have the right perspective.
That's right.
I think photography also is one of those things that helped me love a lot of different aspects of it, because, and I was explaining this to my buddy who's in Palm Springs right now, and he was in Joshua Tree for a couple of days and it was raining. He's like, oh, this sucks. I was like, no, think about it. Dude. You're seeing something like the desert, like Joshua Tree, in a condition that not everybody does. Right? It's rare. Yep. It's a unique opportunity.
Yep.
I only learned this because I remember the first time I rode Lolo Pass, that it rained the entire time.
Right.
And then when I rode it the second time, when it was dry and perfect, I liked the rain version better.
Amazing, dude. Isn't that amazing?
But it's like, it's the perspective, like, because sometimes it's the little, like if you're tunnel visioned on a road like that, then you're only thinking about, oh man, the turns.
Right.
But no, I'm riding, it's raining enough to where I'm wet.
Yep.
But that river I'm riding next to is fucking raging.
Right. And you could still focus on it a little bit and enjoy it, right?
Oh my God, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's something that I could not recreate. The second time I rode it, the river's all the way down at the bottom. You could have walked across the motherfucker.
Right. And it was beautiful skies, but it just wasn't, it didn't have that same effect on you.
Maybe riding in the rain heightened every one of my senses.
Right.
To tackle into that moment more. And then at the end of the road, we're in this town, starts with a K. We're going back, we're going west from Missoula.
Yep.
And we all stop, and some of the buddies that didn't have rain suits are all naked in the fucking wash period, drying their clothes.
Yeah.
And that hang, could never recreate that.
Yep. You'll never forget that.
You would not, for any reason in the world other than you just rode in the rain, stop there and kick it for an hour and a half so someone can dry their clothes.
Yep.
And then get wet again as soon as we get back on the road.
Totally, man. Yeah, no, I think riding long distance, it's totally like a drug, dude.
Oh, it
I
is,
mean, I'll feel the high. I will feel the high for weeks after doing a trip, man. I'll feel so good. Like when I get on my bike on an open road, like on a trip. I mean, even just during the week when I'm riding, it's like I get on and my brain just starts sending me positive messages. I just feel better about my life in general, and that's...
We were talking about it earlier. It's like, you're grateful.
Right.
I say this every year I get to go to Sturgis, I look at that as a blessing. Like, oh my God, dude. I grew up around men who dreamed of going to Sturgis, and I've been every year for 10 years.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So those kind of things I try to be mindful and aware of all the time.
Yep.
In regards to, like, you and, is it Axel or Alex?
It's Axel.
All right, so Axel, that trip and that video was epic, right?
Yeah.
Before we talk about the trip, I want to ask you, like, bike prep.
Okay.
And I need this for myself right now.
Okay, hit me.
How did you gear that thing? Is it 4-speed ratchet top, right?
4-speed ratchet top, 25 tooth trans, and then the stock drum is 51. So I think you're trying to get as close to 50, or you're close to half, right? You're trying to divide it by 2 and get close to. That's the best sweet spot. That works for me. My bike. That's the same bike actually. I did it the year before on. I did all the way to Charleston, South Carolina.
Did you make a video about it?
Dude, that one will live in my memory.
Did it happen?
So that's the funny thing. And this is something that I love. Is like when I did cross country the first time, I went with a guy who's totally offline.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit, dude. He's not even on Instagram right now. Like he's not interested in it. And so we did it, and it's like it was the same experience but different. Like we were just not really thinking about documenting it. Which is like a lot of my friends are like that. And I respect that. I'm the loud ham that likes to be in front of the camera in my friend group. So it was really cool to have that experience with Jake, and it's like we vibed so good. We're really good friends, and we did the trip, and it's like it'll live in our memory pretty much. That's it, And then going with Axel, who's like totally into, like, he comes from a skateboard background. He's like always been into filming things in a certain really artistic way.
Yeah.
And when I left for that trip, I didn't know we were going to do that. I was like, he's filming the first day. He's like filming a lot, and I was like, oh, we're going to document this trip. Like, I need to step up and film this trip with Axel, because I don't want the whole thing to be one-sided.
Yeah.
So like that was a really fun challenge for me to try and film the trip from my perspective and get all those angles of him, and like, I'd go up to him at a gas station and ask him like a question and film him answering and stuff, and like a lot of my friends told me that was their favorite part of Yin and Yang, is like the in-between gas stops where we're just talking about what's happening, Yeah, I
remember when I sat down, this is the thing that I encourage people on here, is like, when you have, like, that's almost a 2-hour long.
Dude, almost 2 hours long.
So, man, go home, put it on the TV, and sit down.
Yeah.
Crack open some beers and just watch it.
Right.
This isn't a sit on the shitter and catch 15 minutes of it thing.
Right.
And that's what I did. I watched it when it came out, and it was like, dude, this is sick. And I don't know if I messaged you or if I thought I was gonna say this. Like, I could tell that by the end of it, y'all were both comfortable on camera.
Yep.
Versus at the beginning, because you were just meeting each other too.
We basically were meeting each other. I had met him twice before.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I'm very intuitive when I meet people. You know, and I don't think this is special or anything, but like, I feel like when I meet someone, I know if I'm gonna be, if I will vibe with them.
Yeah.
And Axel was totally that way. I was like, he's sweet. He has this like aspect of self-preservation, which I think I have also, which I think kind of has to line up with me. You know, like it's hard for me to get along like deeply with someone who's like totally out of control. You know, like I need a level of self-preservation. You know, I have kids, like I need someone that goes to bed at 9 o'clock. That's my fucking speed. Like, I like to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, a partier on that trip would have been difficult for me.
Yeah.
You know, so we matched up like that. He's just super sweet. He's into clothing and like his style and, you know, his whole thing. And we had such a good time getting to know each other on that trip. And we had this conversation sitting at a gas station in Montana, and we didn't have our phone. We didn't record any of it, but like it was such a good, like, deep conversation where we were getting to know each other. We had like both drank a couple tall cans and like stopped in the middle of the day.
So what's your favorite color?
Yeah, shit like that, dude. Like, and you know, it was like one of those times when you shouldn't have stopped. Like, we had like 500 miles to ride that day, and we stopped for like an hour and a half, just fucking off, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, like by the end of the trip, we were like kind of fucking with each other, and like we were a little loosened up and felt more comfortable.
But I thought it was a good depiction of it, and I mean, and don't take this as like I don't mean any disrespect in this, but it's like the primitiveness of it.
Oh yeah.
Of the videoing, the way it was done.
Yeah.
It almost like beckons like anybody out there, like, look, you don't have to have this camera right here, these GoPros and all this shit. Like, just capture it with your phone and lean into it, basically.
That's all you have to do. And I have talked to Axel about this after the trip, because like we didn't know it's a 2-hour long YouTube video. Like, it's going to be hard for people to watch. You know, we didn't think that it would do as good as it did. You know,
the video I'm trying to make of riding my shovel across the country is inspired by that.
Awesome, man.
Because I want to make, so when I did my FXR chopper ride, I did 4 videos of that trip.
Yep, I watched them.
And I really, I think about it all the time, and I might just do it. I want to cut all the intros and outros out and put those together and make one video.
Yep.
Because I feel like the people that watched the first one, they didn't watch all the way to the end, to the last.
For sure.
And I want people to see that whole journey, right?
Yeah. Yep.
When I do this shovel head across the country, Lord willing, it goes there and back.
Oh yeah.
I want to make one video, and if it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. And I think that I would that's a body of work. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
And it's a body of work that I'm putting out on my terms and not an algorithm's terms.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of okay with it. I'm completely content with it not doing whatever it needs to do. Like, this is kind of more of the same way I told Josh Kerpius when I did the podcast with him.
Yep.
What you guys did 10 years ago, essentially,
right,
inspired me in so many ways.
Yep.
And now I'm sitting right here interviewing you.
Right.
And you inspired me in so many ways to now I'm sitting here, right?
Yep.
So maybe this video will help somebody out, like we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Or maybe it'll keep me remembering the cool shit that I'm capable of.
I think it's going to do both, man. And that's like what video can do, you know, especially on YouTube, where it can live forever, you know, if you don't take it down. But I mean, Axel is the artistic. He's the artistic person who did that.
Yeah.
He did that whole thing, and I was happy to be along with it. He says thank you to me, like I did something, and I'm like, dude, I was happy to be a part of it.
There's an aesthetic vibe to it too, though. Yeah. That, like, unfortunately, I feel like if you did a trip like that, but then you had 3 modern baggers next to you riding, it would kind of like, hate to say, like, kill the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because, like, I don't know, that's almost like having chase cars behind you.
Yeah,
You know?
I think you're right.
But it's like if there was 3 baggers ripping across the country on their own thing, like
That would
it'd be cool as well.
that would work, right?
Yeah.
It's the mix where it's like it doesn't.
They just don't. I mean, the baggers have 2 more gears.
Right. It's not going to work, dude.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they have to stop for gas every 60 miles. These guys
Yeah.
can go freaking 250.
exactly.
Did you have a question about packing originally when we were?
I would say that I did notice that y'all's pack outs on that trip was non-existent.
Yeah, it was.
It seemed like
non-existent.
tools and spare parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
What run me down the packing though? Like what?
Okay. So me and Axel were talking like the months up into it, and we decided like in January that we were going to do the trip in July, and he was like, I think one of us said we're going to do it with no sissy bar, and then the other one was like, fuck it, I'm not doing a sissy bar either. So that was like our thing. We're like, we're going to do this ride with very little, like basically nothing, and so a side bag. Do you have a sissy bar? You do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be. You can put clothes and shit in there, and you'll be fine.
Problem is when I travel, I have to take all this
you
camera
have to
shit.
take all this shit. You're gonna have that on your body, right?
I'm thinking if the financial gods bless me between now and then, I might buy another camera smaller, finance another camera that's smaller.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that is the workhorse right there. It does it
Right.
all. You know.
A side bag helps. I had all my parts in the side bag. And major tools, I had tire spoons in there. I had a regulator rectifier. I had advanced weights because those are a bitch. If a spring goes bad on those, those are hard to get in a small town. Points. I had a coil just in case, and then tire spoons, big crescent wrench for the axle nut and all that shit. And then my small bag, I had all my hand tools. And then I had a sleeping bag and my tubes on the back, and that was it.
Yeah.
I had a toothbrush in my pocket, and that was all I took. I smelled really fucking bad, dude.
Straight Danger Dan vibes.
Yeah, kind of. Well, Danger Dan, yeah, it was like that. Yeah.
So that's the reason that like when I built the chop, like there's certain things I did that I, like spoke wheels look timeless and classic on choppers,
Right.
but they're prone for flats and shit like that.
Yep.
As opposed to the mags, essentially, you're not having to deal with tubes. I can put a plug in it if I need to. You know what I mean?
You'd have to true it if you hit a pothole.
Yep.
You have to worry about that.
So in a way, like when I travel on mine, you could say that you guys are more biker than me.
No, dude.
I mean, if not that we're playing that game, but
Right.
I'm just saying, like I want to do it because it's hard, and finding out how to pack and what else to leave behind
Right.
becomes a fun challenge.
Yeah.
And then forcing yourself to go on a journey like that, and then without all the shit you feel like you need,
Yeah.
it kind of changes your perspective of what you actually need at home.
It does.
And I think
Yeah.
all this stuff plays into like my open-mindedness to fashion,
Yeah.
better clothes,
Right.
less clothes, more intentional with everything you have instead of just abundance.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about motorcycles is there's so many parallels to life as far as what you can take from it, and use in your own life.
The whole book of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance
Yeah.
is literally just a parallels book. Philosophy and shit. So it's like, I don't know. I thought I noticed that. I was like, fuck. Like I don't think I can do that. But like I said, I do have to take the camera stuff. I need to record podcasts.
Right.
These little DJI things, like these make making YouTube videos a lot easier.
Right.
And I mean, take this off if it's in the pocket. It's a little bit easier to kind of hold than I feel like the phone is to like record things for myself.
I think so. Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought the video was great. I think that I'm not saying there's still people all over the place riding choppers across the country. That's not going away. But
Totally.
I wish I saw it more. I wish more people were documenting it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
showing us, because that shit is so fucking cool.
It is, man. And I mean, 21 Days Under the Sky is such a good film. Like I watch that, I rewatch it, just because I like it. I wish they would have let the guys talk more. I wish there would have been a little bit more like vocalization from the guys. Like, I mean, Grossman, you can just let him talk, and it's like the most
Yeah.
amazing. It's like the most entertaining thing. He's like so lighthearted and fun, you know, like.
Josh had mentioned it either on my podcast or when he did Todd Blueball's podcast. There was some aspect where a lot of them had met each other, like they knew of each other, but they met on that thing, and so it was a level of filling each other out.
Right.
And then apparently Josh didn't even join them until they were already in like the Salt Flats.
I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah, no, that's weird because you'd never know
The way it was edited.
the way it was edited. But yeah, he says like he was riding his bike in Milwaukee or out of Milwaukee in the wintertime to like shoot the footage of him like leaving for the trip.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's funny, man. And like everything I've heard about the making of that movie, it seemed like there was a lot of personal tension kind of in the group, you know, and like that is that's real. Like that shit does happen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard to do a trip with people you don't know, you know.
Well, I mean, and you know, Mark Kirkland, I think is his name. Like this, when he did Todd Blueball's podcast and talked about some of the like what he was like, he sold a photo to Apple.
Or you mean Michael Schmidt?
Michael Schmidt, sorry.
Yeah, Michael Schmidt.
Sorry.
Yep.
Michael Schmidt. So when Michael Schmidt, he sold a photo to Apple, which gave him enough money to buy all the camera equipment to make 21 Days Under the Sky.
Wow.
Or actually, it was either 21 Days or 6 Over, one of the two.
Wow.
But it was like something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought that was always unique and cool. And like I said, one of those things that I know as time goes on, it's going to become more and more of a cult classic of like, you know.
Oh, it is. And I mean, dude, to see, that's like kind of the one place you could see who Troy Critchlow was, you know? I mean, that's it, dude. That's like him. You know, you can go to his blog, but like that's the movie, you get to really see him, you know? And
he seemed like the old soul of the whole vibe.
I feel like he was, man.
Yeah.
And like I was around at that time when he was in LA, and like I remember when I saw him at the Long Beach Swap for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck, this guy is so fucking cool.
Mythical.
Like, yeah, no, like he looks like a David Mann painting, you know.
Yeah.
I was just like blown away.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's just an era that like was existing, and I was in a different world, and I'm thankful and glad I found all the things that I'm into when I found them. I wouldn't really change it, but a boy could dream.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to be in LA at in 2008 to 2014.
Right, seeing all that shit happen.
Yeah. So we're like, with other aspects of like, where's the modeling shit come into play?
Yeah, so
like, how does that, what door, or when did that door open, and what did that look like?
So I've kind of been doing it like for free, more or less, since I was in LA. You know, like my friend who I started riding with, John Dragonetti, he was a photographer. He still is. He's a great photographer. He was like working for brands. He did like some loser machines shit in the early days, and like he would have me come along and be in it. You know? And I was like doing it just as a kid, you know. And so like the when I started putting myself out there on Instagram, I started getting a few more opportunities. And like, to me, modeling is just like, one, I like fashion, so it makes sense. I love being on set. I'm not afraid to say that I don't love it. Like, I love being on set. I love being in front of a camera, and I love like trying to make it happen for the client, like, and give them what they want, you know, in the moment. And, you know, so like, I feel like I'm kind of in my realm when I'm doing it. And so every opportunity I get, like, I look at it like it's easy money, you know, like I'll do it. It's fun. I'm not going to like seek it out, but like, you know, if you watch my videos, it's worked really well, because I basically, the video footage just is like a reel for my modeling, basically. You know, it's like, that's what modeling looks like. That's what it looks like when you're on set. Right. So it's kind of doubled as like,
that's what, to not to cut you off, but that's kind of the thing when you're shooting people. You don't want them to just really dig into this one pose.
Right.
You want them to kind of move and create angles and like, it showed, like, because the camera's going.
Exactly.
You know, you're shooting, you're shooting.
Right.
And yeah, I try to, I shoot my wife a lot, and she kind of gets it, and she's gotten better at moving around some and not being so fixed in one position.
Right.
But giving me time to make the shot.
Exactly.
The
photographer will get the shot. That the photographer runs everything, especially now, like the sets that I've been on, like for God's True Cashmere, that company, amazing to work with.
Yeah.
Such good people. And the guy, Hagoop, who's the photographer they use a lot, and he's like a creative director on set. He's like running everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know the photographers did that. That's like their role, really.
Yeah.
They're running everything. And, so I just get there and I try and move in the ways that I think work, and he does everything else, man. That's how they do it, apparently.
Well, I think it's I don't know, it's cool. It's I never really, it's kind of like once you know how the sausage is made, essentially, kind of thing. It's like you pick up a camera and you think it's, I want to if I put a hot girl in front of this bike, it's going to be a perfect photo. And then you realize the hot girl is like stiff and doesn't know how to move, or doesn't have angles, doesn't know how to accentuate things. And and then it shows, okay, well, you have to be a good director. Now you have to be able to talk to them in a way to get them to loosen up and to start to move, and find ways to encourage them in the moments, because it is a very, maybe intimate, but not sexually. It's intimate and very...
It is.
It's, you know what I mean?
It is. And a good photographer can make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That's like when, I connected with Hagoop a lot. He's a really good guy. And like we were friends immediately when we got on set. And that made me feel really comfortable taking direction from him and working with him.
Yeah.
And I feel like Ben Christensen's also like that.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that like, you want the photographer to direct. You really do, because someone has to be in control and taking charge of the situation. I think that's how you get the best work. It's like a band where everyone's trying to write the song. Like, no, you let the one guy write it, and then everyone can put in their little 2 cents. But like, that's how you get the best result. So Ben's another guy who I like totally respect. I love working with him, and he's one of those. He's not just a photographer. He's a creative director.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I just thought it was interesting because, like, those shoots that you've done, I guess it's just like you're kind of breaking a mold that I think a lot of us are used to seeing in this space.
Right.
That I'm here for it. I think it's cool as hell, but I just think it's one of those things that, like, man, I didn't know that was another path that people could take, or maybe people that were handsome, whatever you want to call it, like can go be in those spaces as well. Because I know some other dudes that are more or less on the modeling shit, but they do it in more of a punk rock way, so it doesn't feel like it's as serious.
Right.
And like the stuff you did with that, is it God's Cashmere?
God's True Cashmere.
Like that one was like prestigious shit, dude.
I know, man.
All I could think of is like turtlenecks and choppers, dude. That's where we got it. That's where we got a turtleneck and chopper fucking trip.
Yeah.
Just it'd be sick. Just get it dirty in hell. Dirty as hell.
Because it's different, man.
It's different.
And that's like my goal. My dream is to do like a Gucci campaign. Like it really is. I'm not kidding. Like I would love if they came to me and were like, let's do something that's like this.
Yeah.
That's your world. I would be like, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to do. Like that's what I want to do.
That's dope.
I'm trying to do. I want God's True Cashmere to do another shoot with a bike. Really bad. I thought they were going to do it for the Harley collaboration, and they didn't end up doing it. But I thought it would be so much fun to put that world in a different context. That's what I love doing, is like changing the context and showing things to different groups, right? I feel like that's where the magic happens. I really love like confusion. I love a little bit of friction. I think that's like how you grow and create new things.
Yeah. No, it definitely does. It totally makes sense. You got my notes over here.
I'm nice.
Trying to keep up with everything I wanted to make sure we get.
Totally, man.
Before the camera goes dead or overheats. But we're both partners for Harley Davidson this year.
Yeah.
We're the class of 2026. What does that mean to you in a very vague, very overarching, complete question? You know what I mean? Like, when they approached you, like, what was your initial feeling of that?
I almost cried. I really did. I was so happy because Harley Davidson to me, has been a company that has had as much effect on my life as like fucking Apple or Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like it really has. In my development and who I am today, it's all because of Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Whether it wasn't, even if it wasn't new bikes that got me interested in it,
Yeah.
this company has put me on the path and made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And introduced me to so many amazing experiences. And it's like, I was so happy to be able to represent them in my way through me, right? So like I was extremely happy. They said, oh shit.
Fucking tree just fell.
Yeah. They didn't think I would do it.
Yeah.
When they called me, and I was like, oh my God, fuck yes, I'll do it. Like
Yeah.
I would love to ride a new bike and see what it's all about. So overwhelming happiness because of the impact that Harley has had on me and my development and who I am. I was very, very grateful and very excited. What about you?
I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but it felt validating.
Yeah.
Like it felt like, man, like I've not that I've done and been busting my ass for these last 20 plus years. I've been in making motorcycles my career and my living.
Right.
But it felt like, fuck, man, it felt validating. It felt
Right.
like justifying all that time
Right.
and effort put into
It
this.
wasn't for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's being on these kind of like these paths in the, making a living in motorcycles is not, I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say it's not easy.
Right.
It's literally subjective in
Right.
that way, but it is up and down and it's very volatile. Not the people, it's just the market is volatile.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
And, one day, you're the baddest painter there is, and the next day, no one likes real fire anymore.
Right.
And you
Right.
have to reinvent yourself. And so there's a way that it's good in that way. Or, maybe you became big in one section or side of the motorcycle world, and now
Right.
your heart is in this one over here. And now how do you go and transition and
Right.
not, there's a lot of the overthinking shit that I do.
Totally.
But I think validating was like one of those, but it feels very arrogant to say. It was validating, but it to your point, I think it also felt good to represent. I think mine's mainly validation, and I hate to land on that only.
Well, I got that too. I mean, I
Yeah.
won't put that aside. I mean, I think that's a real thing because, you dedicate your life to something and you're so into something for so long, and it's like, maybe it is pure for a very long period of time. You're not getting much from it, because you love it so much, but you're losing a lot, in essentially like opportunity costs. What could we have been if we would have
Yeah.
done something else, right? Something a little bit more safe.
Yeah.
But like so you put in all this work and you do things that you want to do, and you're kind of killing yourself for it. And then, when basically the people that started this whole thing say, hey, we want to give you a bike, that feels like it wasn't for nothing,
Yeah,
And I understand that totally.
Yeah, there's that, and there's a deep appreciation. It does feel good. It feels, again, validating. It feels very it reignited a lot of optimism too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, now this thing comes into the mix, and how does it change the trajectory of whatever path I was on?
Right. What were you trying to do, and how do you have to readjust now to incorporate
Whether
it?
it's me readjusting or just naturally, how are things going to be different?
Right.
And I'm always someone that's trying to look ahead, which is a trait I'm trying to work on.
Right.
But just okay, well, what does it look like now that I'm a part of this? Or
Yeah.
how do I do a good job?
Right.
I think I mentioned to you earlier, like, at first it was validating, and then I went through a phase, and I think I still am kind of on the tail end of this phase of feeling very, what's the word I used earlier?
Imposter
syndrome.
Yeah.
Because, you look at it, and then, of course, I'm also maybe comparing myself to the Adam Sandovals and all these way more on the lines of influencer or
Right.
content creators,
Right.
YouTubers
Right.
that have kind of gone through these waves a lot more, or the builders
Right.
that I've admired for years. They got the opportunities to do
Right.
stuff. So it's
Right.
like once you're kind of finally in that, it's kind of like validating because like, oh yeah, I deserved it. But then, oh shit,
Why do you
am
deserve it?
I as good as these guys?
Right.
Do I deserve this?
Right. Why do you deserve it?
Exactly. And so
Totally.
it's a whirlwind of emotions.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No, totally, man.
not bad, but I think it's got potential for so much growth.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. Dan was talking to me about how like he thought I would start burning the new bike crowd, or doing
Yeah,
videos in that realm.
Yeah.
And to me, I kind of feel like that is almost it's the easy way. Like I always want to zig when everyone else is thinking I'm gonna zag, right? Like I think that would be too easy. I think that would be, almost the expected thing, like to start doing the same thing.
Yeah.
To
change the home it's landing in.
exactly. Like I think the real challenge is like how do I show what this machine can be for a guy like me in my life? Like what can I do with it that is going to have an impact on me? And like, a lot of people are focused on like the what or the how. They like seeing how something's built or like what's the part, like that's kind of what they focus on. Like the question I'm always asking is, what does it mean?
Yeah, why.
The why. That's what my whole thing is what does this mean? How do I interpret this in my life, and like what can I get from it? And in like a self-fulfilling, like internal, so that's always what has interested me, and that's the direction that I am going to continue to go, I think, with this opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that it came at a time where my path of motorcycles was kind of in a much different place, right?
Yeah.
My heart is really into choppers right now, both building them and seeing how far I can push them, traveling and stuff like that.
Yep.
But again, your point of why, asking myself why, it's like, okay, well, now I got to figure out how to fit this bike into my world. Not figure out like I don't want it or I don't need it, but like to figure out how to show the world or show people, because like I said, now I'm putting on this influencer brain.
Right.
I didn't paint a bike for Harley and they gave me a bike.
Right.
Like the job here is to promote the bike.
Right.
And to promote the brand, which I've always done, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But now I got to figure out how to show, okay, well, I do love this chopper and this is what I'm pulled to for here. But this is also where this fits into my garage now and how it solves a problem for me.
Right.
Today.
Yep.
On it right now. Like,
it
was fucking 35 degrees when I left my house.
Right. You got to get to freaking San Antonio.
Yeah, and I, doing 100 miles an hour down the tollway, made it a lot simpler. That chopper's not. I'd still be on my way if I was on a chopper.
Oh, dude, you would, man. Yeah, that's to get from Dallas to here could be all day on a chopper.
So there's an aspect of it, and then there's also the aspect of like, I haven't had a bike that my wife can enjoy with me in years.
Yeah. And
I'm hoping that she takes a liking to this, and that we can open up to some cool things together on this bike.
Yeah.
Which I hope to show through, the YouTube and things like that.
Totally.
So I think the why is also like, if I had to think about it, is also like the direction I'm trying to take on this. I'm going to customize it. I'm going to make it my own, and whatnot. But I don't think I'm going to reinvent the wheel on that at all. I'm going to do something new, the color that we were talking about that I'm interested in.
Yep.
And then just ride the piss out of it and enjoy it.
Totally, man. Yep.
Maybe just enjoy the win.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I've noticed riding mine is it takes away a lot of the things that prevent you from enjoying the ride, that I'm used to, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm so honed in on listening to my bike and, thinking about, oh, well, shit, did I Loctite that? Like,
Yeah.
is something going to go wrong? I haven't replaced that in a long time. Like, and it's hard. It's a different experience where now it's like I get on and I've been riding in so many weird, small little circumstances that I wouldn't have ridden before because it's like if I go out on my chopper, I got to clear all day.
Yeah.
I can't pick up my kids because if I break down, I can't pick up my kids,
Yeah.
So this, I can get out when I want to in the short little periods, and it's like, it's very useful in that way,
Yeah.
I
remember a couple of weeks ago, I was going to go to bike night, and I was going to ride the chopper, and I went out and kicked on it. And I got the kicking down. I'm pretty good at it now.
I saw you did. Yeah.
But every once in a while, it just reminds me of Who's Boss. And
yeah.
I started kicking it, and then I started getting tired, and I was kind of layered up because it was a chilly night.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck this. And I pushed it back in, pulled the road glide out, hit the button.
Yeah.
It was warming up while I was getting the rest of my shit, and I was out of the house. And I
Oh,
was like,
dude.
Done.
Yep. So I had a similar experience because we ride every week together, guys in our area. And at the end of the night, it's like fucking 1 a.m. It's freezing cold. It's like 35 degrees.
Yeah.
And everyone's kicking their bikes. I'm just standing there smoking a cigarette. And I had that realization in real time. I was like, man, this is kind of nice right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to get on and be warm with this fairing. I got my music freaking blaring, I'm just hanging out while these guys are all like trying to start their bikes.
I think also like you picked up an FXR while you're down here in Texas. And that's a whole nother experience on motorcycles. I think that like the real conversation to be had is how each one of these machines provide a different experience of riding motorcycles.
Totally.
All within the brand.
Yep.
Different eras from the shovel head cone to the Evo.
Yep.
And now the M8, second gen motor.
Absolutely, man. And I'm like a huge believer that like everything is going to become cool eventually.
Yeah.
That's the thing that like I feel like people don't step back enough to realize that, like everyone hates on everything new in the chopper world anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's very common. Like, something that's older or the newer than Evo is not cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, man, if you just 20 years, people will start doing it, you know, it'll be cool eventually,
It's funny you say that because I've never cared for them. And I've seen a couple dudes, whether it's just they have the swag or they just have the aesthetic that works.
Yeah.
On like 01, 02, 03 baggers that are just kind of crusty.
Yeah.
Just enough crusty to look old.
Yep.
But it's still twin cam.
Yeah.
It still has 5-speed. It starts easy.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's kind of fucking cool, man.
Those are some of my favorite people, most interesting people, I think, is like, I've met. We were like riding through Maggie Valley one time on the way to Wheels Through Time. You heard of that place? And we stopped at a gas station drinking a beer. I was with my wife and my other buddy. And this dude comes up on like whatever it was like a 95 Softail, just totally freaking biker, decked out, had patches from every run he's ever been on. I'm like, he came up and talked to us. And I'm like, had his old lady. I was like, this is like a biker. Like this guy fucking rides his bike. He's had that bike since he probably bought it new, like that is cool. To me, I love that fucking story,
That's a good point. I think that perhaps I think motorcycling maybe, and obviously neither one of us were there, but maybe back in the 90s, early 2000s, you weren't buying a bike and getting into a subculture of that bike.
Right.
Which now, like, you get a bagger, you throw bars on it, now you're in a subculture of performance baggers.
And that's all it takes. Right.
You get a Softail, you put some super tall apes on it and some fishtails, you're now on a Vikla.
Right.
So it's like,
you get the chopper, you buy the right clothes, and you're in that niche,
But again, it's like you were saying, like there are aspects of like, well, the chop, like I'm the same way, and it would be easy to kind of clown on it, being like, oh, you got to put your chopper outfit on. I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm kind of mid-controls, I'm tight.
Yeah,
right?
I know, dude.
So I need to wear I can't layer the same way I'm layered right now.
Totally.
So I need to wear a little bit thicker pants.
Yep.
I really want to wear boots on it, but because of the angle, I have no dexterity in my feet. So I'm finding myself like looking for a type of boot or a shoe that can be something I can travel on.
Right.
That I'm not going to be concerned with getting a pair of Vans will work, but they're going to get fucked up really bad.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The boots feel more I don't know.
You're not a boot guy, huh?
I'm not. I've never been a boot guy.
Yeah.
These I'm wearing. I'm still breaking them in.
Right. I noticed. Are they thorough good?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are really nice. And the wedge sole is like, I feel like that's entry level into being a boot guy. The wedge sole, because it's still pretty comfortable. You know.
Yeah.
I wear the most serious boots ever.
Yeah.
I wear 17-inch Chippewa steel toe. Like they go all the way up my calf. But I love the fucking protection. I love the wind protection, and all my pants are really like high on my. They're just always high,
yeah.
so it my pants don't go underneath the boot, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so they stay because the boot is really high.
Yeah.
You know, I love boots, so it's weird for me to hear someone say they don't like boots. But I think if you just find the right pair, you'll get it.
It's just also like good boots are expensive.
They are.
So finding out what it is and what it ain't. And I guess it's also, I grew up playing sports. So movement in my ankles have always been something that like I value.
Yeah.
And so when you know, even these just being like I think these are 6 inches tall. These are high tops for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally, dude.
And so I feel like very, you know, I don't feel like I can, you know, juke somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, totally, man. That's why I like pull-ons, especially for foot clutch. A
Yeah.
pull-on, you have no laces, nothing tight around your ankle, so it's really comfortable. A pull-on.
But yeah, the foot clutch sense, that's kind of the thing is that I don't like wearing like slip-on Vans, even though I do occasionally will wear on that. But like normal Vans, high tops, I dig because I can still feel it under the sole.
Right.
Like the foot clutch, it's like there's like something, there's a little bit of a feeling there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like too much separation with the sole kind of like takes it away or makes me a little bit self-conscious.
Totally.
Because I've already had a couple, like 2 spots where like I got mixed up in what was going on.
Yeah, slipped your foot or something.
Slipped my foot off, didn't have a brake, looked for one, didn't have it, like didn't lay it down or anything, but like definitely a couple gnarly spots.
Totally, man.
You know?
Yeah. It's like playing the drums. Riding a foot clutch is like playing the drums. Like you got to be really coordinated, do a bunch of shit at once.
I don't find it difficult.
Right.
Like I've gotten accustomed to it, I think, pretty well. But occasionally, I haven't been drunk on it yet, though. That's another one. But occasionally, just zoning out, not paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, that's whenever I gotta.
Right.
That's when it reminds me, hey, dude, you can't do that.
Right. Totally, man.
Eyes right here.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
I want to say one more thing that I like have it. Well, I don't think I've ever said this before, but so all the photos about new bikes, going back to the new bikes, all the photos that we all fucking jerk off to, all the old 60s photos, all these dudes are riding bikes within 10 years old. I mean, like, they were riding new bikes. Like, they were club, you know what I mean? Like, so it just feels so weird. Like, you know, I think about if, like, back in the 1969, you know, if, like, Terry the Tramp rode up to a group of guys and they were like, oh, you're not riding a 1901 single cylinder?
Yeah.
You're fucking gay.
Yeah.
Think about how weird of a situation that would seem like.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how life is right now for us, right? It's very weird, man. Like and that's like a perspective that I've kind of like acknowledged recently with the new bike. You know, it's like, you know, it really makes, for me, my chopper feel like cosplay. You know, like, I mean, I've kind of had that, I've acknowledged that weird thing, like, in me, you know, like, you know, I love, like, that whole 60s movement, like, that everyone is really into, right? You know, like, that's, like, what we were all looking at and stuff, and it's like, you know, these guys were on new bikes, basically. You know, they were fucking them up. They were, like, finding frames and, you know, doing that, but it's like, it was all fairly, like, modern shit, you know?
No, that completely checks out and makes sense. I mean, but how much society changed from like the 40s to the 70s, which if you, in history books, is significant, but compared to that to now,
insane.
I mean, we're talking computers, AI, internet, fucking fuel injection, like so many things, like 1930s knucklehead, 36 knucklehead to a 1969 you know, pan shovel. When did they come out with cone? What was that?
Cone was 70.
70, all right. So 69 is last year.
Yep.
That's a very similar motor.
For sure. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's not like you might have been on, like, you know, the panhead came out and now you're on the shovel head, right?
Right.
So, but it's like still kind of the same thing.
Totally. Yeah.
And then you go from there to here, and you know, modernization, you know, it just keeping up with the times. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
I get it. It checks out, like what you're saying, but it also, like, 50 years back from there versus 50 years forward from there is like leaps and bounds.
It's leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
For sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also, like, you know, probably the guys back then, and, you know, I don't know because I wasn't there, but, like, they probably wanted the new, like, like putting shovel heads on a panhead was a great mod, and a lot of guys did it because it was like a new modification with new factory good shit, right? That it would probably leak less and stuff. So
it's undeniable, though, that, like, design itself, there was something more in it back then, you know?
Right.
I'm not an expert in knowing it, but I'm very keen, and I love mid-century modern stuff. And even as when I was in architecture in high school, I never really picked up on it. I was more into, like, the Frank Lloyd Wright era, which is kind of early mid-century. It's more, you know, ranch style stuff.
Yeah.
To Art Deco shit that was of the, you know, 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yeah.
But, like, mid-century, it's like there's so much philosophy behind design that I fell in love with. And then the era of mid-century is, like, you know, the conversation pits, the Playboy era.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the things that I love, magazines, culture, it all came out of this era, you know?
Yep.
And I'm drawn to it. Like, my wife and I when we do buy a house, like, we really want to find something that has a mid-century vibe to it.
Yeah.
And maybe we can't afford, like, a legit, you know, Silver Lake area, you know, mid-century shit, but like, we can probably find something that kind of, you know, in one of these towns that fits our vibe. But I'm drawn to the design of those things and the aesthetic of it.
Totally.
Even to this day, like, most of our furniture in the house, we've kind of went and found either authentic mid-century old shit, or something that looks like that's made new.
Yeah.
But it's just that design style.
Totally. And that stuff, like, it's crazy because mid-century is so expensive now, right? Like, every piece of furniture, like, you go and look, like, you try and buy a credenza and someone wants $1,500 for it. You know, like, it's crazy. But that design is fucking timeless.
Yeah.
I mean, it is something that, like, you know, you buy it once and you're gonna have it forever.
I never, and I've said this on the podcast, I'm sorry, I've never cared about Porsches, ever. Until I watched a video talking about the design philosophy behind Porsche, and now I'm fucking turned on every time I see one.
Yeah, nice.
Because it's kind of like Harley Davidson, the FL style fender that used to come on, they don't really come on them now, but that was like the standard touring fender that came on all the bikes.
Yep.
That fender had came on these bikes since the Knucklehead.
Yep.
Right? That look, that style, it was timeless.
Yep.
That feeling of creating a design, something that stands the test of decades, almost a century.
Right.
To me, like, that's badass.
It is badass.
You know?
For sure. But then you have to think about what kids are into right now. And I see this in vintage because there's a lot of young kids getting into vintage. Like,
90s?
No.
Getting into 90s shit?
Newer? Dude.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, it's weird, man. So it's like, these kids are, like, into 2003 Ralph Lauren and shit. Like, you know, like, stuff that when we go picking now, like Laurel and I, we're looking for, like, a totally different thing than all these new kids are looking for.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that. So what I'm trying to, like, wrap this around it is, like, dude, stuff that we think is, like, valueless and not timeless could be timeless. It's our perspective right now, you know, right? Like, that's, like, to us, it's like, oh, the 60s, 70s, like, this is where it's at. And to someone who's 23 right now, like, they're like, oh, dude, 2001, like, that's the cool shit. You know, like, you're gay, you're old, you're an old dude. You know, it's just a weird thing. Like, you know, my kids might be looking for, like,
stuff that's cool now.
2015 home style design, like country, whatever they call it, like Chip and
rustic,
Joanna, rustic Chip and Joanna Gaines shit. Like, that might be what's really cool and desirable and timeless, you know? It's just so weird how things move, you know?
Yeah. Cut Rate had said that the last podcast we did together, he said that something that like vintage is sometimes something that's kind of close to like what you're used to seeing in your life.
Right.
That you're attracted to it, but it's
Right.
something from an era that you might have been around or
Yep.
shortly before you.
Yep.
Because I think I was talking to him about how my grandmother forever was into antiquing.
Uh-huh.
And the antique stuff was more of that farmhouse stuff. Like from her era, it was like the coming off of the plains and into the city kind of thing, where
Right.
you have, the late 1800s to like the 40s style, rustic stuff essentially.
Totally. Yeah.
But they grew up in the era of all the shit that I want,
Right.
which is mid-century.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Isn't that weird? Yeah, no, like, I grew up in a house that was built in the 1800s, and it's insane. It's like a very old house.
Yeah.
And it was under construction my whole life. It's still under construction. My dad is just, he does everything himself. And, I grew up with my parents, like, going to stores and sourcing vintage stuff and, like, furniture and everything like that. Like, it was all about old original shit.
Yeah.
So, like, I was doing that when I was a kid. And now the house that I live in, it's like so similar to my parents' house. It's bizarre. I like feel like my dad, and I didn't plan that at all.
Yeah.
It's like a 1935 craftsman home,
Nice.
like terraced and everything.
Yeah.
But so I think what Oliver was saying is pretty true, man. Like, whatever you grow up around, like you'll kind of find your way back to
'cause
that.
I'm really into 80s shit right now.
Uh-huh.
And I fucking hated the 80s growing up. Like in the 90s, I felt like cars changed from the 80s to the 90s. Like they went from very boxy in the 80s
Right.
to very round in the 90s.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
I hated 80s looking shit. And
Uh-huh.
now there's not a thing in the 90s other than like maybe an Impala that I would fuck with.
Right.
Right. Everything, like I'm like into 80s fucking, I like 90s like BMWs and German shit right now in the 90s is sick to me.
Uh-huh.
I'm into that.
Yep.
This shit's addicting, and I don't have enough money for all these hobbies.
Yeah.
Because I got the van, I love it. My wife and I enjoy it, but I really wanted like an old Porsche,
Oh,
not
yeah.
an expensive one, like a 944 or something kind of
Right.
cheap.
Yep.
But also, there's some friends of mine once they flew up to Seattle and bought like an old BMW or Benz
Uh-huh.
and drove it back to Texas, all photographers, and
Yeah.
they just like had this road trip journey
Oh my God, that's amazing.
on a car. They didn't know if it was going to make it, but they were going to
Uh-huh.
figure it out.
Have
And
you seen the photos and stuff? Or like,
I haven't. He came on the podcast and talked about it, but I haven't seen like a results of it. But
Yeah.
the romanticization, or however you would say that, made me want to do something like that.
that's basically what we do
On bikes,
On
yeah.
bikes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, I never got to experience like traveling, like with friends. That you know what I mean, like because I got into relationships quite soon after I got out of high school.
Right.
So there was no roommates with guys.
Right.
There was no band
Yeah.
that I traveled with.
Yeah.
There was no like, hey, we're all going to jump in the car and go see this concert down, 100, 200 or 300 miles away. Like,
Right.
I didn't really get to experience that growing up.
Yeah.
Or even in my young 20s.
That's why you traveled so much on a
Yeah.
bike in your 30s, I think.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Also, I had kids young.
Right.
And by the time I hit 31, my daughter was 13. My son was, young, but, we were separated. So,
Yeah.
only got to see him on certain times anyway. So,
Right. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know, traveling is always going to be there, but now it's just kind of broadened to like, I want to go further.
Yeah.
I want to see different shit. You know what I
Totally.
mean?
Yep.
Maybe it'll happen, but I don't like touristy shit.
Yeah.
Like I want to go to Europe, but I don't want to go to Europe and do the things that's on the brochure.
Right.
I want to go hang out with some homies that ride bikes out there
Right.
and go to the local pubs
Yeah.
and see the local shit.
Well, luckily now you can do that. You
Yeah.
can pretty much organize something like that on the internet.
Yeah,
And have
pretty
it. And like, if someone hit me up from another country and was like, dude, I really want to come to California, if I trusted the guy,
Yeah.
mildly, if I felt they were a good person, I'd probably try and help him out.
Yeah.
And make
Isn't
that
kinda
dream
like
a
what Dan's
reality.
trying to do with his like Danger
Yeah.
Dan tours thing, something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He was telling me about that.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, it's a good fucking deal. I think about that too. It's like as much as I've traveled on bikes, I could lead a really legit, very fulfilling bike trip for somebody that wanted to do something.
Yeah.
if they gave me their parameters and what they want to do, I can curate something really fun. And that's something I already kind of do with people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go to California every year regardless.
Right.
So if you want to go, I'll go do this shit because I want to see your reaction.
Totally.
You know, of seeing the Golden Gate for the first time, or, you know, whatever, you know.
Oh yeah. Yep. It's like an Airbnb experience almost, you know. It's like you could do the chopper experience, you know.
Yep.
Come to a trip with Jace.
Yeah.
We'll break down, we're going to drink beers at gas stations across the country. Get to experience it.
It's different, man.
Yeah.
I remember a close friend of mine. We were on big wheel baggers, as funny as it is. We were riding them to San Francisco. And we had a lot of hardships on the way up there. Air ride problems, breaking down.
Yeah.
We figured it out. We did some chopper shit, got it all to Vegas, solved all the problems. Then we made it up there to San Francisco, did all that, and then we were down in Monterey, and there's this like hotel right on before you get into Monterey. It's like on the kind of highway still.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've always booked it there because it's like you can walk right out to the beach, and we just got a 6-pack.
Yeah.
Dug our toes in the sand, drank some beers, sunset on Monterey, beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
It's like that, for that reason right there is why I can never go sober.
Right.
Because I will always try to chase that momentary fucking experience.
Oh yeah. Dude, I get it, man. It's like it's Nick Offerman said in like a stand-up routine, he said like use intoxicants because it's a great tool. Like after a hard day, like hard work, use an intoxicant, have a beer. It's freaking worth it, man.
Yeah.
You should do that for yourself because it feels so good. It's when you take out the hard work that you get depressed, right?
Yeah. That's actually a good point.
But is there anything better than like riding all day? You're fucking riding all day. You're in it. You know, you're like trying to make it to to wherever you're going, and then you stop. You know, maybe it's late at night. You buy a fucking 6-pack, sit outside by your bike, and you're just like, I made it. You know. Yeah. Tomorrow we're gonna wake up and it's a new challenge and a new task. But right now I've got this, and I'm gonna fucking sit here and enjoy it, man.
No, 100%. I love it, man. It's like, again, it's intoxicating. You know, I just hope that, like, I've always really hoped that when people listen to these podcasts, what they take from it is motivation to try some shit like traveling, or even for this case, like, you know, consider what you're wearing. Consider, try not to feel so bad about, like, not bad, but like, get out of your way.
Yeah.
Yep. If you're interested in something, try it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Maybe you want to make videos like you and stuff like that. Like, dude, just fucking turn the camera on and riff.
Totally. And that's like a thing that I keep coming back to is like, you know, me and my friend Zach were talking about this at the bar the other night, like a bike night. And he's like, if new people don't get into this, it dies.
Yeah.
It will die. You know, like it takes a lot of work and people to make this whole thing alive and what it is. Mm-hmm. And for us to have all the fun that we have, of course you can keep doing it by yourself, but like having the community takes work, and it takes people coming in who are stoked on it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I want to encourage new people to get into it. And maybe if you find it on Instagram and that's your first way you see it, and then you want to get a bike because it looks cool and you maybe like the style of it, and that's where you're starting from, that's okay. Mm-hmm. You know, it's about where you go next and diving deeper. But I don't want to slam the door on these kids' faces the second they do something wrong that isn't deemed appropriate in the culture, right? Like, I feel like that's gonna kill what is happening, you know? Like, I'm having a lot of fun, and I think everyone I am around is having a lot of fun, and they love what this whole thing is. Yeah. You know, so it's like, you know, I get inspired by young people, by new people. That's my favorite thing. If some young kid wants to come around and hang out and ride with us, like in our town, like we always try and invite them and give them the chance to hang out. And like, I learn from them, dude. Like I love, in our group, we've got kids who are 23. We got a guy who's in his 60s. We got everything in between. Yeah. And it's like everyone's fucking just talking like they're the same age. Yeah. You know, and everyone's at a different level in the culture, right? Yeah. You know, like maybe someone just got their first Sportster, but like we are all together doing the same thing and living exactly what we want to do, and that's what binds us all.
That's sick, man. Like, and you're up basically Sacramento, up in the mountains, ish.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
No, it's good. It's nice, man. Like having good groups of friends to share those sunsets and those fucking beers with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a definitely. I mean, like I said, this campground we're sitting at now, so much inspiration came from here. It's just crazy. Like, you think about how long you've been riding motorcycles, and I think about that for me, and I always think about. I don't ever think it's that long because I know someone that's longer.
Exactly.
Right.
Me too, man.
And then I meet a lot of people that come into this world, and this is no way of like saying less than or whatever, but like, oh man, you just found this in 01 or 2021.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm stoked you're here, but I'm like, fuck, you missed a lot of cool shit.
Uh-huh.
You missed a lot of fun stuff, man. And hold tight, we're trying to make some more shit.
Yeah.
If you got some ideas, we're open-minded.
Exactly.
But
yep.
Yeah, dude, it's a good thing to be a part of. It's not a bad, all this stuff, whether it's old or new, like it still moves you in a I haven't even felt the chopper yet across the country, but I know how badass it is to ride a motorcycle across the country.
I am so excited for you to do this. I am going to be your biggest fan. I really cannot wait, because this is like, to me, what you're doing is very in line with what I like, which is breaking down doors and shattering norms.
Yeah.
And it's like you're coming from new bikes. I mean, you've been riding much longer than I have, but you're coming from new bikes and you're going to build a chopper and ride it. And that's your plan. Mm-hmm. And it's like that to me is breaking down norms in the culture. And that's what I like to see. And that's why immediately I was very drawn and supportive of you and what you're doing. So I cannot wait to watch that happen and unfold. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited to see it, man.
I appreciate it, man. It's something I'm looking forward to. It's definitely it's the bucket list this year, even though I have a lot of things I want to do on this road glide and do with it, you know. I feel like the first hurdle is this experience that I want to have. And I'm also trying to not overthink it and put some, I just want to, this is just the path, and I don't want to force anything on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's kind of like when I watched the Yin and Yang thing, it's like, didn't you like leave in the middle of that trip to go do something?
Yeah. So it was ridiculous, dude. I had to leave for a job for God's True Cashmere like halfway when we got to Nashville.
Yeah.
So I didn't even go to the show. Shit. I didn't go to Paradise Roadshow. I probably looked like such a fucking asshole. But they called me. I was at a gas station in Missouri, and they called me and they were like, "Could you fly to LA in 2 days or 3 days, whatever?" I was like, okay, I think I'm going to be in Nashville in 3 days or 2 days. I should be if nothing major happens. And so they flew me out halfway and then flew me back to Nashville.
That's sick.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Yeah, and then how when Axel's bike broke down, y'all still made a trip out of it with the U-Haul.
Totally.
Then the shots of you like getting back off of it with the Roy's Motel.
Dude,
thing.
yeah,
like
so
that's
amazing.
Just cool.
It is, man. And I wanted to show him Amboy, California, really bad, because I rode through there like 10 years ago, and it blew my mind. Like I didn't know what it was. I randomly stumbled upon it, and I was like, we got to go here because you're gonna love it. Like it's gonna have an impact on you. So I pulled my bike out and I let Axel ride my bike and stuff too. Yeah. So it was cool.
Getting to experience it. Yeah, I'm still looking for the chopper dudes that want to do things like the traveling. So hopefully in me doing this trip, I'll find the guys here locally in Texas that are into it. I think there's people into it, but they might not have the time. You know what I mean, to get off to do it. But that's kind of like, like I said, I'm just raising a flag, and if people are into this, like, hey, come, let's hang out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let's
go do some big trips,
Yeah.
If it all works out, it'd be sick to like catch up with you guys on the way to the congregation this year.
Dude, we could do it, man. Yep. I think we could definitely cross paths at some point.
Yeah.
Yep. That'd be really fun.
So this year, I mean, you got the new glide. What kind of events are you going to try to do? Like you doing Born Free or any of those type of things, or what?
I am not going to do Born Free this year, and I really wanted to. I actually applied for a booth, but they don't have space. Yeah. And I get it. It's like if you have a booth there, you're locked in, and why would you give it up? Because it's huge, So I would love to go down there because Alex from Crispy Co is building a bike in the show.
Yeah.
And Dirty Biker from Death Traps MC is building a bike in the show. So there's some hometown guys, who are going to be there. But man, it's going to be tough for me if I'm going to take three weeks off. I got to say no to a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, man. So that might be my whole year.
No, that's cool. So when y'all do the trip to the congregation this year, 3 weeks, are you still going to be smashing miles every day like you did on this last one? Or are you going to try to slow it down some and enjoy some of those spots? Or
we're going to smash. We have to, man. Because I know I have to be back at a certain time.
Yeah.
So it's like that was the thing. Like when Axel's thing happened on the way back from Tennessee, we were like, if we didn't have jobs or wives and kids, we could find a machinist out here and take a week and figure this out, but it just wasn't, we had to be back, and that's the hard thing about having responsibilities at home,
Yeah.
So when Jake and I did it, we did it all the way to Charlotte in 6 days, and we were moving. It was rough. I enjoyed it because that's how I like to do it.
What was the average day, 500 miles?
Probably 500, yeah.
What's that feel like on your body?
It's brutal in a good way. And I don't, 500 miles to me is a lot on a chopper in a day, but I know there's guys that ride a lot longer.
I'm hoping that 500 miles is doable by me.
Right.
Before we go too far deep, I don't find it uncomfortable to ride a chopper. Like the hardtail.
Right.
Yes, if you hit a fucking nasty little bump,
you're gonna feel it.
You're gonna feel it, yeah. Yep. But it's not like the entire ride is a shit show.
It's not. It's not like you're aching while you're riding. It's more the time. The timing is what's the difficult thing for me, is what I've noticed. Say you stop to fix something, that takes 30 minutes. And then you got to stop for gas every hour and 20, basically.
Yeah.
And then you have a beer, so you're stopping for an hour.
Yeah.
Man, all of a sudden, the biggest day we did was 560, me and Jake, in one day. And we rode till midnight. We rode from 7 a.m. to midnight.
Damn.
It was you're riding all fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's you never sleep so good. You sleep like a baby.
What would you say, these are complete questions for me trying to keep in mind for whenever I jump on my trip. What would you say is the things coming loose? What would you say you always had to kind of seem to check a lot, that seemed to, no matter how tight you got it, how much Loctite? So
I always check big major things. I check, and some guys might be like, well, you suck at building or putting a bike together if you have to check this, but I do suck at putting bikes together. I am not.
Me too, by the way.
I am not good at this stuff.
Yeah.
I get by. I check my axle nuts. I check my brake stay. I'll check my fucking brake master cylinder for fluid just to make sure it's not low, because a drum brake in the front doesn't do much. I'll check my chain adjustment. On star hubs and shit, I'll just wiggle the wheel back and forth a little bit. You've got mag wheels and bearings, so you're good on that. But, your jockey shifter. Check your fucking jockey shifter nuts that hold that thing on, because if you lose that, then you're fucked. You have no way of shifting. So those always come loose for me. Even my trans has come loose, so I check that on the plate, So those. Yeah, I was trying to think of what kind of bringing extra bolts, because so far the only thing that's come loose, I did lose a bolt out of the rear master cylinder. The one that holds the master cylinder to the frame. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I lost that. A friend of mine caught it. I looked right past it. The top tank mount, because my tank mount has a sides and then one centered. This one got loose, but I was just playing with it one day because it was right there. And you felt it? And I felt it. I was like, oh, glad I did that. So far, that is the only thing that's come loose. I'm probably shy of 1,000 miles just ripping around on it. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I need to do, it's just the weather's been so erratic. Yeah. And I have not had a weekend off to save my life. I need
if I could have rode it down here today and stayed here and just rode around and then rode it home tomorrow.
That would have been a great test of Shakedown.
Because I want to do a long day on it to see what it does to the motorcycle.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is to ride it.
Yeah.
And that's like, I said this in my YouTube video, but like that's why it feels comfortable to finish a bike and sell it without, you know what I mean? You finish it, you do it, and then you can sell it, and it's good. You don't have to go through that terrible process of shaking it down and breaking it in and all that stuff, you know, because like everything will come loose on a chopper just because it vibrates so much, you know? So.
Glad you brought that up. I was going to forget all about it. So YouTube.
Yeah.
You're a YouTube star now, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying.
What's the, what would you say is the hardest part about that for you?
It's doing something that I feel people are going to think is interesting. That's the hardest part about it for me.
Yeah.
Is like you know, and I'm trying to make that the appeal of the channel, is like this is going to be a very bare bones, in-depth kind of look at like what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk how I normally talk. I'm going to just, there's not going to be a show really, you know? And I might try and do some like trip videos and stuff and try and get better at editing and do music and stuff. But like, I really want to show the progression of learning how to do it. I think that would be cool, like in 5 years to be like, oh wow, look at this first video. It was terrible. It was 360 DP or whatever. Everyone was laughing, like very authentic.
Yeah.
360 DP. And then he learned and he kept learning and now he's making good videos, you know, because I feel like that's such a valuable skill set.
Yeah.
Right? To be able to edit good video, which you have that skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, good is subjective. It's just more like, I try to, when I do a video, I try to just, did I waste somebody's time or not?
Right.
You know? And yeah, sometimes I might have, depending on what they're looking for, but I try to always just make it, you know, interesting to some degree.
Totally.
I mean, that is, I guess the idea behind it is, I do feel like I have a unique life. Sometimes it's hard to capture it all and to form it into something palatable to somebody through video. Because you know, when you're doing this all the time, you're also not actually engaging in what's going on.
Exactly. It's a trade-off.
So it is a huge trade-off, and that's one thing. Like I regret not getting into the YouTube stuff while I was traveling the country with my friends.
Yeah.
Because those stories, I mean, like kind of like you were saying about Jake.
Yeah.
They get to live in your head, and that's where they'll be.
Yep.
Same for mine, but like, I guess maybe so much that like I would have loved the world to see who these men were, and how that dynamic was, and you know, stuff like that, because it was truly unique.
Totally, man. Know? Totally. And it's like sometimes the best things are uncaptured, right? Like, you know, I think sometimes like, you know, because a lot of things now are like, oh, I want to show this person, like this person needs to be seen, like this is so cool, you know, or like this bike, or like this culture needs to be seen. It's so cool. But it's like sometimes the most respectful thing you can do if you really love something is leave it the fuck alone, right? Yeah. And that's like, that can be how you look at what you had when you were traveling so much. And it's like, it's yours, you know, it's just for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we were kind of talking about it at lunch. It's kind of like, if you want to have a really good, intimate event that's not really an event, it's just more of a run, a hang, you know, then you don't promote it.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of just talk about it once it's over with, but you don't promote it that it's happening.
Yep.
You know, those that know, you know.
Totally.
There's something to that I like, that I'm interested in. But yeah, you know, the YouTube thing, I think it's, you know, 10 years ago, it was like the barrier of entry was pretty difficult. You know, like, not saying you could have done it with your phone or whatnot, but it just seemed like it was harder.
You needed equipment for sure. Yeah, that was like probably when you had to buy the actual software to edit things too. You couldn't just subscribe for like $10 a month. You know, you had to like fork down $1,200 to buy Final Cut.
Exactly. So I think that now it's becoming an extension of just like social media, and aspect of like, well, of course, if you have this, and this, you need to have that.
You do. Yep.
You know, I don't have the energy. Not that I really have an issue or a quarrel with like TikTok or anything. I just, when it came out, I just didn't have the energy to go invest.
Yeah.
Both, like, on both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Into the platform to like get it. You know what I mean?
Totally. you know, I think
I heard you talk about how you felt like it's been beneficial for like.
It was important because I got to kind of like, TikTok, you can work stuff out, you know, because you just don't give a shit about it, you know, where like it's very based on like the algorithm, you know, like I'm not like interacting with the people who are looking at it. I don't know anybody. It's not like my friends talk within that app, where Instagram is very like, it's about your social connections, you know, and like people that are interacting with you are a lot of times, you know them, right?
Yeah.
You know, so like, but the thing about TikTok is it's a whole different age demographic, you know, so I felt it was important to build it and use it, you know, and like I'm not really good at it because the trends shift so much, and like it's very like vapid, like it's kind of brainless content, the stuff that does good on it, you know, and like I like to kind of like think about a whole story and like what am I trying to say with this video, right? Like that's kind of the thing, is I want it to be well thought out. And so that like that's a weird thing getting used to, but I think it is important because it is a younger demographic, and I don't think it's going to go away. You know?
Yeah, I was like, you know, we were kind of talking when we both picked up the Harleys and shit, and we were doing the reels. And I'm glad you did yours first, because I really wanted to know, like,
what you were supposed to do, even?
Yeah, I felt like I was like, okay, how do I do this, or what does it look like? But, like, I put all this energy into making a reel to showcase picking up the bike and all this, that, and the other. And, yeah, I did okay. But then I stalled my bike out, and I kick-started it in an intersection, and it, like, you know, it didn't hit millions, but it went fucking stupid. And I'm like, man.
Doesn't that suck? I know.
It's like, I get it, but it's like the reward mechanism, the reward system is ass backwards from how I grew up.
It is.
Where effort equals reward, not effortless equals reward.
That's exactly what it is.
It fucks with like the nature of like the order of life to me.
It does. It really does, man. I fully agree with that. And I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. It's just a matter of learning how to use the tools that are available to you in the best way possible, you know, and it's like, and doing it still in a way that is you. But, you know, I mean, it's becoming it's safe now, even in, you know, like, I guess the old bike thing, like people are feeling more comfortable making videos, you know, where like when videos came out and Instagram was pushing reels a lot, like I feel like it felt almost like selling out making a reel, which is weird because it's just like doing anything else, you know, it's just like everything I think is like exactly the way it was 20 years ago. It's just a different platform. You know?
I feel like when the reels came out, there was like, I remember instinctively, like, our buddy that used to stunt ride and do all this shit, Sit Down Steve, did this, like, reels kind of popped off. We were like, what is this? And then he leaned into it real heavy, goes to Daytona, puts this wild, like, highlight reel of Daytona on the reel, and it was with a banger-ass song. And it was like, bro, that shit's badass. But then you have, like, everybody saying reels is in, reels is in, reels is in, and they're telling you in a way of, like, it's like TikTok. And then to us at the time, it was like TikTok was like, kids eating Tide Pods and dancing. That was the whole influencers in the wild was all built on TikTok style shit. So it kind of put a bad, you know, taste in a lot of people's mouths.
There was a stigma.
And what it's become now is literally like the skits that people do on stuff, like relationship people, like playing out like scenarios and all that kind of stuff, which I get wrapped up in that shit every once in a while. I'm like, God damn it, why are you watching this? It is entertaining, but it's like I didn't really open the app for that. You know what I mean? So that's just me.
What's your favorite thing to see? Like, what is your favorite thing to see on social media? Like, what really gets you pumped?
I don't mind reels, but I want it to be like when Corey makes a reel from Main Drive and he's showing like all the processes of making something. Or I ain't gonna lie, those fucking like dudes in like Thailand or the jungle that start building fucking forts and shit. Taps into something deep in me. I fuck with forts and clubhouses and shit. Just, you know, people's experiences riding. You know, you know, in the culture of what I'm into. There are some other like clothing people that I found that I'm not saying that I'm like super into it, but like I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watch it every once in a while.
Who is it? Can you name one?
I don't know their names. I know this is one chick. I don't even know why I watch her. She's not like some like. She's an older lady, but like she just. I don't know. I dig the content. I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know how to explain it.
Okay.
I'd have to show you. And I don't even. It pops up every once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like just kind of like seeing what the people that I chose to follow are putting out there.
Yeah.
Usually. I don't need to be entertained by people.
Yeah.
I think the insight into people's worlds to see like when you post something on your personal page, that I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Even if it is just like me and the old lady and the kids and we're hanging out. Like
Right.
I chose to follow you to see the inside life or the things you choose to share.
Right.
And I find that to be the value thing.
Right.
Like, and so that's kind of where it's like I feel like it's pushed myself and some people maybe to not be so personal on social media anymore.
Right.
You know, like my daughter gets a shout out, my son gets a shout out for their birthday, my wife gets a shout out on an anniversary on her birthday.
Yep.
But for the most part, it's just not a lot of personal things going on there anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that's hard because that's what people want. You said you like to see it.
I like to see it,
but isn't that weird how you don't, that's what you like to see, but it feels weird to put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm a caption junkie, dude. Like when someone writes a paragraph caption, that's what gets me to stop.
Oh yeah, read what they say.
Yeah, and I think it's the most pure form of what a person is thinking. That they can sit down and put together a paragraph. That's like how you really can get an in-depth look into someone, I think. You know, so I love that shit. Like when if they post a video of a trip, I love to see the story with that was written.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much more time to write fucking thing, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I do like, there's times I like to like, when I went through a phase of really wanting to be better at writing or a writer or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I was putting a lot more thought into that, and I've kind of bounced back and forth. On my photography page, like, I really just want you to look at the photo.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I feel very compelled to write something, but there's really nothing that comes to mind. So I'll just put a date.
Yeah.
And leave it vague. I don't care if that page goes anywhere.
Right.
I just need a place to take a photo that I like, that I took, and I need a place to put it.
Right.
And whatever that looks like, you know what I mean?
Yep. So I will challenge you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, because I think I love photography, I do, but I think it needs writing with it.
Context. Yeah.
It does, man. For me, like I guess like maybe a photo just doesn't hit me in the right way unless it has something that the photographer wrote about what it is or what it means, right? Like that, you know, so like, and that's why like magazines, like Modern Chopper magazines, I wish they had more writing. That's always what I am like wanting, you know, because like I don't want to buy a magazine and have it be just like Instagram, like basically a physical version of Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to see someone write something about what they were feeling, what it was like. Those are my favorite parts of the visuals, right? And I think like, and that's just a personal thing.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there is a line in there where I do understand that the context behind a photo helps guide the viewer into that realm.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
But I also struggle because I feel like a photo should be interpreted by you.
Right. There should be
how it feels.
An aspect of mystery.
But then again, to be fair to what you're saying is, if that was a case of you walking through somewhere and seeing the photo on a wall,
right?
Like if you came to my house and the photography I have on the wall doesn't have paragraphs under it,
right?
You're looking at so and so, you know, the day after this,
right?
You know, so that I think that when you see photography on another scale, it kind of it kind of invokes an emotion in you that's different than if you see it on this size screen.
I totally agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this feels like everything's the same.
Yep.
You know?
It does. And seeing stuff in physical form is so valuable and cool. And I know you've talked a lot about trying to push people to like do something where you can show your work in person, even if it's something small in your hometown, right?
Yeah.
But like get people out there to like really see it how you want it to be viewed, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, because it does hit you a lot, a full-size fucking print out there on someone's wall, it will make you feel the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And I think that also, like, the way you decorate your home should be an extension of like you and your life.
Yeah.
You know, and I can tell when I walk into someone's home and the partnership between the husband and wife is like they're a team.
Yeah.
Versus this dude he don't run shit.
He has no say.
He has no say in nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
And to me, it's like it's not about like, oh, I want fucking chopper titties over there and biker shit over here and
Right.
And some rat finks over here. Like, it's not that. It's just that it's a balance of like things that both partners feel. So we made a conscious effort, my wife and I, that like all the things that are hanging in our house are personal to us.
Yeah.
And they could be some piece of art that we found at an event, a print or something like that.
Yep.
But nothing from Target, nothing from Amazon.
Totally.
And when you come in my house, I want you to feel like you're walking into our world.
Yeah.
You know, not like a bunch of pictures of our faces, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which is weird because we grew up in houses where
our faces
were everywhere.
That was what you did.
Exactly. And now I think social media has changed that in us, where we feel less inclined to post pictures of ourselves everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, I just think that's a unique thing. And I feel like when I go to people's houses that are like that, I'm more drawn to the curation of it. And I like it for myself because it makes me, it inspires me, and it kind of reminds me, gives you that gratitude we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Because I remember that picture, I was broke down on the side of the highway in New Mexico.
Yep.
Scariest but strangest and most exhilarating day of my life.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I see that, I'm like, reminds me all the time.
Totally, man. I feel like, you know, when you see someone's house, it's like a very, it can be, it's like that look into who they really are, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird, but like I feel like it would be hard for me to even connect with someone who didn't care about their space. Like, I don't want to sound, that might sound like an asshole thing, but like if someone doesn't want to make their space theirs, like that would be a weird divide between us,
like
right?
You mean the place you spend probably the most time?
Right.
Like, you don't care how that feels to me?
Exactly, right. Yep.
Yeah, it feels like they're maybe detached, or they have like, I don't know, some underlying shit going on.
Or maybe much more important things to worry about in life, which
yeah.
could be a negative look on us, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we care about all these funny like little things that don't really mean anything, but
I think they all go into like making us feel like grounded and connected to the life that we live, and not the life that we maybe try to portray on social media.
Totally.
You know, this is my life. This is actually it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And yeah, I think it's important.
It is, man. I've got two big like blown up Garcia shots. Shout out Texas, Garcia, great dude, Brian Garcia. But he sent me like two of my favorite chopper photos ever. It's like this one dude on this like tight little generator shovel, and he's got like the biggest smile on his face, and he blew it up. You know that picture?
No, what he had like a book. Was it the bison or the great white bison or something like that?
I don't know actually. I know he's been taking photos of choppers since the very beginning of this whole thing. You know,
I feel like I have a book from him because he's from here, and that name sounds familiar. Like a little photo zine type thing.
You might. He's a really, really good photographer.
Yeah. He shot a lot of Vice Grip stuff a long time ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I think we're probably on the same page.
Probably the same dude. But yeah, stuff like that. I mean, friends, things that remind you of certain times.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I think I said it before, and I'm drawing a blank on the photographer's name, but it was a shot of Justin Haney on the Lolo run. And he's like riding his bike, but it's from the back, and he's just like doing this with his arm like this.
Good. Yeah.
And you could tell that it was like an excitement kind of feeling.
Right.
And
right.
I love that photo, and I would hang it in my house if I could. If
you could find the guy that took it.
Well, I know the guy that took it. I need to just ask him, but it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, will you print that? I'd love to frame that and put it in, because it's just he captured a vibe, a moment. And to me, like, I want to surround myself with inspiring things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have a level of like things that are us in our home, and things that are just from the world that we love.
Right.
Like art, like like I have a 6 over poster above my toilet. You know, huge, like
Yeah.
a poster.
Hell yeah.
The first Born Free I ever went to, I have the like little giveaway roll up poster they give framed
Yeah.
in our kitchen, and then the first Mama Tribe that the Mama Tribe that I got to have my bike in, I have that framed.
Nice.
And it's just things like that I try to like have. At some point in time, they might not be in the house, they might be
In the garage.
in a garage or somewhere else, but like for now they have a home there until
Yeah.
something else comes along and changes that. But yeah, I like that shit, man. I
Me
think
too.
it's cool.
Me too, man.
Dude, we did it, man. I think we've done a lot.
I think we got enough.
What time do you have to be back?
Probably right after we finish this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
What time is it? Yeah. I think we're probably right on schedule.
Yeah. It's 4 o'clock. I can wrap this up, and then I can head back to Dallas, and you could head back to doing family duties.
That's right. This was great, man.
Hey, I appreciate you being available and doing all this, and I'm kind of glad we got to do it. I hope this came out the way that it feels like it.
I know, because this felt so good.
Yeah.
And to do it here at a place where we both have good memories
Yes.
is amazing,
Yeah.
man.
It'll capture it. So, all right.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right.